Introduction. Dear family, who understands? In this grand 21st century, a solitary soul unexpectedly finds himself reincarnated as Shen Gongbao. And then, Nezha confronts him with an accusatory finger, exclaiming, Shen Gongbao, you are quite hideous. Fortunately, at that moment, my golden finger arrived. It proclaimed that I had received Nezha's guidance and acquired his magical child form. Thus began an extraordinary journey. Chapter 1. Transcending as Shen Gongbao, beginning with Nezha's magical child form. I am Nezha, the third prince, capable of subduing demons and composing poetry. Today, I shall eradicate evil. All you demons, prepare to meet your doom. What is this? Nezha? At this moment, Nezha was striking poses while riding on clouds alongside the venerable Tai Zhenren. He spoke of going to the Yushu Palace to receive a mission, to vanquish demons and evil. Wang Ming was bewildered. Was I not supposed to welcome the god of wealth on the 5th day of the Lunar New Year? With fireworks prohibited in the city, I had ventured out with a few companions to the outskirts. Then, how did I find myself as Shen Gongbao in Chintang Pass? This must be a scene from Nezha's tale of the magical child descending to the world, right? It had just premiered on New Year's Day. Wang Ming, now known as Shen Gongbao, had squeezed with a group of children to watch the 2-hour film. Snap! He pinched his own cheek hard. It hurt. It must be real. Just as Shen Gongbao was enveloped in confusion, a familiar yet strange mechanical voice echoed in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully binding the Heavenly Court's rebellious system. This system allows for sign-ins and rewards. Character initialization. Name Shen Gongbao. Cultivation true immortal. Faction disciple of the Chanjiao. Physique great demon body. Race leopard demon. Alright then, have I truly become that tragic Shen Gongbao? Previously, having watched the television series Investiture of the Gods, I thought Shen Gongbao was a pitiful little man, merely uttering the phrase Daoist friend, please stay. But this New Year's Day, everything has been turned upside down. It turns out that before his debut, Shen Gongbao was a fleshed-out true man. Instead, those exalted beings, the so-called immortals, are the real charlatans. System, what does your sign-in entail? What am I signing in for now? Though I possess my own golden finger. The foreknowledge of the plot left Shen Gongbao's scalp tingling. For a time traveler, knowing the storyline is beneficial, but it also brings its own troubles. At this moment, he was overseeing 3 malevolent dragons, entrusted to him by the Dragon King of the East Sea. However, these 3 creatures were rebellious, capable of betrayal at any moment, and could massacre the entire Chintang Pass. Most unexpectedly, that senior brother, whom everyone believed to only eat celestial peaches and smile benignly, was, in fact, the true villain. Shen Gongbao's ultimate fate was one of destruction. His closest brother died in his arms, and his father lost an arm, taken hostage, becoming the string that controlled Shen Gongbao. What to do? This is truly a hellish beginning. Congratulations, you have unlocked a new map, Chintang Pass. Congratulations, you have unlocked new characters, Tai Zhenren, Nezha, Ao Bing. Ding! Congratulations to the host for initiating the first sign-in. You have obtained Nezha's magical child form. As Shen Gongbao's scalp tingled, a wondrous voice suddenly rang in his ears. Sign-in? Nezha's magical child form? No way. As a great demon, I can actually transform my physique? Before he could fully comprehend, a series of system notifications followed. Ding! Congratulations. Your cultivation has increased. You have now reached the pinnacle of true immortal. Well then, my level has risen. After finally joining the Chanjiao, I had always been a subordinate to my senior brother, Wuyang Xianweng, performing various menial tasks. Yet, without a powerful backing, all depended on myself. Not only was I overlooked by those above, but my cultivation progressed at a snail's pace. Having been reluctant to consume elixirs, I lagged far behind my senior brother, Tai Zhenren, in realm. But unexpectedly, simply by observing the little Nezha posing, I activated my sign-in system. The first sign-in catapulted Shen Gongbao to the apex among true immortals. What if I sign in multiple times? Will my level continue to rise? This is astonishing. Ding! You have received 10 top-tier elixirs, each capable of enhancing your power by 50 years. Heavens! Just as Shen Gongbao contemplated when to inquire about this, a robust male voice resonated behind him. Daoist Shen, this general pays my respects. Who is this? Turning around, he saw a gallant human general, accompanied by a female general clad in armor. It was none other than Nezha's parents, the Li Jing couple, also known as the Heavenly King of the Pagoda in later generations. However, at present, they were still mortals, yet to ascend to divinity. What brings you here, General? Taoist, I have an urgent request. Our city is in dire need of medical supplies. I humbly ask you to allow my people to venture out to procure medicine. It turned out that Shen Gongbao had reached an agreement with the Dragon King of the East Sea. For the past few days, he was tasked with overseeing 3 dragons and a large army of sea creatures at Shentang Pass, until Nezha and Tai Jinren returned with the elixir capable of resurrecting Ao Bing. Once a human city is sealed off, various issues arise, such as food, sanitation, and medical care. Shentang Pass had never experienced such circumstances, leaving Li Jing in a quandary. Thus, he sought Shen Gongbao's assistance. Ding, unlocking important characters, Li Jing and his wife, initiating the second sign-in. This system seemed more astute than Shen Gongbao himself, speaking independently and commencing the second sign-in. Yet this also allowed Shen Gongbao to gain a better understanding of the system. Could it be that my system triggers sign-ins upon encountering new characters or maps? Ding, congratulations on your second sign-in. Your cultivation has been elevated to the initial stage of Xian Immortal. What is happening? With the second sign-in, my cultivation has risen again. Though the distinction between the pinnacle of true immortal and the initial stage of Xian Immortal seems minor, in reality, they represent a significant difference in realms. Previously, even if Shen Gongbao worked tirelessly, no one would elevate his strength. But now times have changed. With this sign-in system, arduous cultivation that once required centuries or even millennia could swiftly conclude. Perhaps due to the growth in cultivation, Shen Gongbao felt elated at this moment. Why not? I could lend a hand to these two. Consider it a goodwill gesture towards Nezha. Just as Shen Gongbao was about to speak, 2 shrimp soldiers and crab generals rushed over. Reporting to Taoist Shen, we have captured a spy. A spy? In this vast universe, how could there be a spy? Nonetheless, duty called, and Shen Gongbao waved his hand. Bring them forth for me to see. It appeared to be a little demon bound tightly, taking the form of a spotted leopard. However, it left Shen Gongbao with a profound sense of familiarity. The other party appeared even more excited than Shen Gongbao himself, exclaiming his name aloud. Brother, what brings you here? Shen Xiaobao, what are you doing here? These words seemed to spring forth instinctively, a testament to their shared bloodline. For the figure before him was none other than his younger brother, Shen Xiaobao. Ding! Congratulations to the host for unlocking a new character. This individual shares a blood relation with you, initiating the third sign-in. How splendid! Such fortuitous luck. Although these individuals were family members Shen Gongbao was already acquainted with, they still brought him good fortune. Would this third sign-in elevate him directly to the Golden Immortal Realm? Chapter 2. Utilizing Nezha's demon child blood to cast a blood curse on the Dragon King of the South Sea. Ding! Congratulations on your cultivation breaking through to the pinnacle of Xianxian. Please continue your efforts. Truly, a brother of my own blood. He has remarkably assisted me in advancing my cultivation significantly. The gap between myself and Tai Jinren is narrowing. Seeing this younger brother for the first time, the transmigrator Shen Gongbao was overwhelmed with excitement. Xiaobao, don't return, stay, and cultivate alongside me. As a transmigrator from a later era, Shen Gongbao was well aware of the plot. According to the original story of Nezha, Shen Xiaobao sought his brother to join the Chan sect. After being rejected, he would return to seek his father, only to encounter Nezha and the demon-hunting team, ultimately being struck down by Lu Tongzi's arrow, dying in his brother's arms. Such a tragic fate must not come to pass. Elder brother, could you recommend me to join the Chan sect? Upon hearing this, Shen Xiaobao leaped with joy. In the hearts of these little demons, the Chan sect represented a prestigious and righteous faction, the most authentic of immortals. Unbeknownst to them, at this moment, the Chan sect, under the leadership of the infinite immortal elder, had descended into moral decay, engaging in deeds far more wicked than those of the demons. Staying is possible, but I must test you after all. Becoming an immortal is not an easy feat. Rest assured, brother, I shall overcome any hardships. Seeing his younger brother so eagerly agree, Shen Gongbao felt a sense of relief. Nevertheless, the lurking dangers at Shentang Pass were far from trivial. The most formidable threats were those 3 rebellious scions, the Dragon King of the West Sea, the Dragon King of the North Sea, and the Dragon King of the South Sea. These 3, in their desperation to escape, would soon strike a deal with the infinite immortal elder, and while Nezha was absent, they would lead their aquatic brethren to slaughter Shentang Pass. What to do? With my current cultivation, can I vanquish these 3 Dragon Kings? Even Tai Jinren might find it a daunting task. Suddenly, Shen Gongbao recalled the demon child body he had acquired. Could my blood be used to cast a curse upon these 3 wretched serpents? We are all members of the Chan sect. Moreover, Shen Gongbao had performed many unsavory tasks for the elder brother. He understood their tricks well, many of which involved insidious methods of control. The most practical among them was the art of cursing. If I could inscribe a mark upon these 3 dragons before the elder brother does, wouldn't that be advantageous? Xiaobao, for your first task, invite the Dragon King of the South Sea to share a drink. According to my recollection, among the 3 notorious dragons, the Dragon King of the South Sea possessed the least intellect, a brute of simple mind and brawn. To control these 3 dragons, the first to be dealt with must be this Dragon King of the South Sea. Understood. I shall go and invite the Dragon King at once. If Shen Gongbao were to go personally, it would undoubtedly raise the suspicions of the other 2 dragons. However, Xiaobao appeared to be an innocuous child, which would greatly ease their vigilance. Excellent. If you accomplish this task, a golden elixir that can enhance your cultivation by 50 years shall be yours. I promise to complete the task. Shen Gongbao smiled faintly, already devising a plan in his mind. He returned to his tent to begin preparations. Since the system had endowed him with Nezha's demon child body, it was certain that the blood of this demon child possessed extraordinary power. Crack! He sliced open his fingertip, allowing several drops of blood to fall into an exquisite jade vial. Fizz! Next, he retrieved a top-tier celestial elixir from the system space, ground it into powder, and mixed it with the blood. In this manner, the wine would not only contain the mysterious power of the demon child's blood, but also the medicinal efficacy of the elixir, ensuring the Dragon King of the South Sea would be caught off guard. Before long, Shen Xiaobao returned with the Dragon King of the South Sea to the tent. Daoist Shen, this king has arrived. The Dragon King of the South Sea was robustly built, with a fierce countenance, yet his eyes revealed a hint of simplicity. As their gazes met, the familiar sound of the sign-in notification echoed. Ding! Congratulations on unlocking the new character, Dragon King of the South Sea, initiating a new sign-in. Congratulations, your cultivation has reached the initial stage of the Golden Immortal. Congratulations, you have acquired the Dragon King of the South Sea's innate True Fire, upgrading the system to 3-fold True Fire. Daoist Shen, what brings me here? The Dragon King of the South Sea inquired in a deep voice. Shen Gongbao laughed heartily, stating, Dragon King, I found myself idle today, so I prepared some fine wine to enjoy with you and share stories. Saying this, he instructed his servants to bring forth the food and wine. Huh, you got good taste. Seeing this, the Dragon King of the South Sea, feeling no need for pretense, sat down boisterously and raised his cup to drink. Dragon King, allow me to fill your cup. As Shen Gongbao observed, he noted the Dragon King of the South Sea was entirely unguarded, and a sense of delight welled up within him. He discreetly opened the jade vial containing the mixture of demon child blood and elixir powder, pouring the liquid into the wine jug, then shaking it to ensure thorough mixing. Dragon King, this wine is specially prepared for you. Come, let us toast. Shen Gongbao raised his cup enthusiastically. Excellent. Huh, good wine. The Dragon King of the South Sea, appreciating Shen Gongbao's warmth, declined no further, raising his cup and downing it in one go. As the drinks flowed, Shen Gongbao noted that the Dragon King of the South Sea had consumed a considerable amount of the wine laced with demon child blood, and he began to enact his spell. Buzz! He silently intoned the incantation, swiftly forming hand seals. Whoosh! An invisible force emanated from his body, surging towards the Dragon King of the South Sea. Ugh! Why do I feel something is off? The Dragon King of the South Sea felt a wave of dizziness wash over him, as if bound by some unseen force, rendering him immobile. He gazed at Shen Gongbao in terror, asking, What have you done to me? Shen Gongbao replied with a cold smirk, Fear not, Dragon King, I do not intend to kill you. I merely wish to bring you under my control, so you may heed my commands. In doing so, you can avoid being exploited and preserve your life. The Dragon King of the South Sea was struck with a mix of shock and fury, yet he found himself powerless to resist. He could only watch helplessly as Shen Gongbao inscribed the blood curse upon him, surrendering his fate into Shen Gongbao's hands. You cunning minion of the Jade Void Palace, how could I, the king, fall into your hands? Initially, the Dragon King of the South Sea had intended to resist. However, he was unprepared for the incantations uttered by Shen Gongbao. It was as if a multitude of ants were gnawing at his insides, causing an unbearable agony. Thus, he had no choice but to relent swiftly. Very well, I concede. From that moment forth, the Dragon King of the South Sea became a mere puppet of Shen Gongbao, too fearful to offer any semblance of defiance. Observing the Dragon King under his control, Shen Gongbao felt a surge of satisfaction. Excellent, Dragon King. Return now, and seek an opportunity to bring your brother, the Dragon King of the North Sea, to me. Are you also planning to cast a spell on my brother? Astute. Should you accomplish this task, these 2 supreme golden elixirs shall be yours. At this moment, Shen Gongbao seemed to treat the Dragon King as if he were but a child to be coaxed. Yet, bound by the constraints of his predicament, the old Dragon King could only nod in agreement. Chapter 3. Are you interested in making a deal? The West Sea Dragon King ensnared brother. I have completed the task. Where is the elixir? Upon seeing the South Sea Dragon King swaying as he departed, the unsuspecting Shen Xiaobao hopped excitedly towards Shen Gongbao, a triumphant smile adorning his face. As if reveling in his accomplishment, Shen Gongbao, indulgent, affectionately ruffled his younger brother's hair and produced 3 golden elixirs, each aged 50 years. Take these and cultivate diligently. Initially, he anticipated that the young lad would be overjoyed. However, to his surprise, the boy appeared somewhat displeased. Brother, you promised that upon completing the task, I would receive 1 elixir. Are you deliberately withholding from me? Very well, what harm is there in letting my own brother indulge a bit more? Shen Gongbao mused, taken aback by Shen Xiaobao's seriousness. The task is not yet finished. Next, you must summon the North Sea Dragon King to join us for a drink. In an effort to provide the young boy with ample justification, Shen Gongbao continued. Yet, unexpectedly, a mischievous smile broke out on Shen Xiaobao's face. Isn't there still the West Sea Dragon King's sister? Brother, are you planning to invite her last? Had this lad taken a fanciful turn? Although the West Sea Dragon King was indeed a beauty, she possessed an inherent allure that was not to Shen Gongbao's taste. Enough nonsense. I, Shen Gongbao, have discerning taste. Besides, a great slaughter looms on the horizon. I have no time for such frivolities. Once I deal with these 3 dragons, I must return to rescue our father. Calculating the timing, he mused that at this very moment, Nezha and the hunters should be confronting the groundhog demon. Do not speak foolishly. Off you go. Hee. Might I acquire a sister-in-law? Impudent child, what are you saying? At this moment, Shen Gongbao found himself at a loss for words. Was this child unusually precocious? In the blink of an eye, Shen Xiaobao dashed away, leaving behind a cheeky grimace. Such a whimsical spirit. Yet, the 2 brothers were likely unaware that their every action had long been observed by the West Sea Dragon King. However, this woman had not anticipated that Shen Gongbao would cast a spell upon them. Rather, she contemplated an entirely different matter. Shen Daoling, do you seek to win over my second brother? To grant him his freedom? It turned out that the dragon brothers were shackled, their freedom contingent upon the incantations of the Jade Void Palace. Witnessing Shen Gongbao and the South Sea Dragon King reveling together had led the West Sea Dragon King to misconstrue the situation, assuming Shen Gongbao possessed the means to unlock their chains. As Shen Xiaobao stealthily sought to contact the North Sea Dragon King, the woman could no longer restrain herself and resolved to uncover the truth. With a flash of blue and white light, the West Sea Dragon King Ao Run transformed into a stunningly beautiful woman with fair skin and long legs, clad in a resplendent blue dress. Thus, she gracefully floated to the front of Shen Gongbao's tent. Although the other party did not enter, the enchanting shadow on the ground startled Shen Gongbao. It was that woman. Yet, he quickly regained his composure, for the exquisite wine infused with the blood of the demon child was already prepared. It mattered not who would drink first. He could always concoct another cup when the Dragon King of the North arrived. How unexpected it was for the Dragon King of the West to grace him with her presence. Contemplating this, Shen Gongbao immediately donned a cheerful facade and slowly stepped out to greet her. The alluring scorpion beauty, the Dragon King of the West, entered after hearing his words. Taoist. Oh no, I should address you as Immortal Shen. Would you be interested in making a transaction? It seemed that the Dragon King of the West was quite fond of negotiations. However, Shen Gongbao feigned ignorance. What do you mean, my friend? TSK. I sensed something unusual about my second brother after you 2 shared a drink. Could it be? What a clever and perceptive woman. Shen Gongbao had been oblivious to the fact that the Dragon King of the West had been monitoring them throughout. However, she was mistaken, believing that Shen Gongbao had bestowed some advantage upon the Dragon King of the South. In truth, it was a curse. Just as Shen Gongbao pondered his response, the astute yet misguided Dragon King of the West took a more proactive step. She boldly seized the enchanted wine intended for the Dragon King of the North, licking her scarlet lips. This was meant for the fourth, but I shall partake first as a toast. What a scheming fool. She was essentially walking into her own trap. At that moment, the familiar system prompt echoed once more. Ding. Congratulations, host, for analyzing a new character. AO Run, the Dragon King of the West. New sign-in unlocked. Ding. Your cultivation has ascended to the peak of the Golden Immortal Realm, allowing you to randomly extract one of the opponent's ultimate skills. Congratulations. You have acquired the Dragon King's sky-rending claw, capable of tearing open rifts to traverse space. How splendid. I never anticipated that the Dragon King of the West would not only deliver herself to my doorstep, but also grant me a powerful skill. How delightful. While she may appear somewhat enchanting, there is an endearing quality to her foolishness. During this brief signing period, the woman across from him, whether seeking to assert her resolve or merely indulging in drink, gulped down the cup of wine mixed with the blood of the demon child Nezha, sensually licking her lips. Taoist, I'll drink to this toast first. Can we now discuss serious matters? Heavens, she truly drank it all. Did she not perceive the odd taste of the wine? As the most meticulous and thoughtful among the four Dragon Kings, would the Dragon King of the West be so easily subdued? It seems we are indeed to discuss some serious affairs. Behold my blood curse. Encountering such a willingly naive target, Shen Gongbao would certainly not let this opportunity slip away. In the astonished gaze of the West Sea Dragon King, Shen Gongbao recited the same incantation he had used against the South Sea Dragon King. With a heart as tranquil as ice, he remained unfazed by the impending doom. His heart, ablaze like a bonfire, reveled in the moment. In the next instant, the beautiful visage of the West Sea Dragon King contorted in agony as he clawed at his throat in desperation. What have you made me drink? Is this a blood curse? Surely you don't intend to cast the heart-piercing spell on me? I must admit, you are quite knowledgeable, my friend. Fear not. As long as you cooperate, I shall treat you with kindness. I shall kill you. The West Sea Dragon King, who had always plotted against others, found himself ensnared in his own machinations, overwhelmed by shame and indignation. Yet, as the woman raised her claws, the excruciating pain intensified, causing him to collapse to the ground, writhing in agony, resembling a shrimp in distress. Although you are a woman, reason must prevail. I did not force you to drink that cup, Shen Gongbao mused, surprised at how effortlessly he had subdued her. Initially, he had intended to deal with this skilled woman last. Yet it appeared that the West Sea Dragon King was the easiest among the trio to conquer. Sometimes, excessive cleverness can lead one into a pitfall, and the West Sea Dragon King was a prime example of this folly. What do you want from me? Nothing much. I merely hope you will cooperate with the forthcoming events. West Sea Dragon King. Chapter 4. Shen Gongbao easily subdues the North Sea Dragon King. How despicable. Perhaps overwhelmed by frustration, the West Sea Dragon King let out a furious roar, transforming into a colossal blue dragon that instantly shattered Shen Gongbao's tent. Yet, rather than being alarmed, Shen Gongbao wore a grin, eager to witness the power of the blood curse. With a smile, he raised his left hand, extending his index and middle fingers towards his chin, while continuously chanting the incantation. By the urgent decree, I command. As his words echoed, the ferocious blue dragon suddenly fell silent, its massive form twisting in midair, displaying a visage of profound distress. Stop, please. I was wrong, esteemed one. It must be acknowledged that the woman's voice was indeed melodious, her figure graceful, and her face, though average, was not without charm. As a time traveler, Shen Gongbao found no fault in this. Moreover, he would soon require these 3 dragons to fight on his behalf. All right, you may descend now. Satisfied with the current state of affairs, Shen Gongbao awaited the arrival of the South Sea Dragon King, who soon flew over, bowing his head like a well-behaved child. Sister, do not exert yourself in vain. Heed the wisdom of the Taoist priest. He harbors no ill will towards us. The Dragon King of the South possesses wisdom, having chosen not to oppose us. Otherwise, the consequences would be dire. However, with such commotion, it is likely that the Dragon King of the North remains unaware. Just as the thought crossed my mind, a massive dragon, adorned in hues of blue and black, surged towards us. This was the Dragon King of the North, the only one among the 3 brothers not ensnared by the spell. Originally, he was following Shen Xiaobao in our direction, but upon witnessing his elder sister's anguished contortions in the air, he unleashed a furious roar and rushed forth in haste. Fourth brother, exercise caution. Witnessing this scene, the Dragon Kings of the South and West, having endured their share of tribulations, urgently called for restraint. Yet, it seemed too late. Shen Gongbao, eager to test the newfound powers he had just acquired, found the weakest of the three brothers, the Dragon King of the North, to be a most opportune target. Excellent. I shall use you for practice, he declared. Behold my void-splitting claw. With a resounding crack, an astonishing spectacle unfolded. Shen Gongbao gradually sliced through the air with his palm, causing the very fabric of space to rend, revealing a portal for instantaneous travel. Simultaneously, a similar portal materialized at the 6 o'clock position of the Dragon King of the North. What? This is not my elder sisters. Before the Dragon King could react, Shen Gongbao launched himself through the portal with a flying kick. Bang! What precision! What pain! The strike landed squarely on the dragon's forehead, nearly shattering his dragon eye. At this moment, through multiple sign-ins, Shen Gongbao had ascended to the pinnacle of the golden immortal realm, though not on par with Tai Jinren. Subduing these smaller dragons was utterly effortless for him. Boom! With a wail, the Dragon King of the North spun through the air several times before barely stabilizing himself. Yet, he was undeterred. He shouted vehemently at Shen Gongbao, who hovered in midair, and then expelled a torrent of blue flames. Huh! I will incinerate you. Faced with this terrifying dragon fire, Shen Gongbao did not flinch. Instead, a small fireball ignited in his palm. Playing with fire? I can manage a bit as well. Do not be deceived by the fireball's diminutive size. Its purity and temperature far surpassed that of the Dragon King's flames, for it was the upgraded true fire of Samadhi. Beware, fourth brother. Surrender at once. You cannot defeat Taoist Shen Gongbao, cautioned the Dragon King of the South, second among the 4 great Dragon Kings and a master of fire himself. He immediately discerned that the fireball in Shen Gongbao's hand was no trivial matter. Should he be scorched by this flame, unless the assailant chose to relent, the consequences would be dire. Otherwise, the Dragon King of the North Sea shall await his transformation into skewered meat. Alas, this warning came rather too late. Thunderous rumblings. With just a slight flick of the fireball in hand, the flames conjured by Shen Gongbao collided with those of his adversary. There was little suspense to behold. The diminutive fireball effortlessly traversed the inferno of the Dragon King, striking him squarely upon his left chest. Whoosh! The air crackled as, in the blink of an eye, the Dragon King was engulfed in terrifying flames, twisting and writhing in the sky like fireworks during the New Year celebrations. Oh, how scorching! Second brother, third sister, save me. In mere moments, the once arrogant blue dragon was wailing in agony, emitting a heart-wrenching roar. At this juncture, Shen Xiaobao approached leisurely. Brother, what are you doing? Oh, nothing. Just playing with the Dragon King of the North Sea. Before his innocent and naive younger brother, Shen Gongbao maintained a semblance of restraint. He raised his hand and withdrew the flames of his mastery. The massive form of the Dragon King plummeted to the ground like a crashing aircraft, trailing black smoke. Crack! Boom! As the cumbersome dragon's body made contact with the earth, the familiar sound of a system notification resonated. Ding! Congratulations, you have unlocked a new character, the Dragon King of the North Sea, and renewed your sign-in opportunity. Due to the opponent's feeble power, you cannot continue to level up, but you may acquire 2 of their skills. Congratulations, you have obtained the Dragon King's exclusive abilities, Joint Manipulation and Blade Attack. This skill seemed somewhat redundant. Compared to the Dragon Kings of the South and West Seas, it appeared to lack any significant distinction. Nevertheless, being a dragon, it could still serve as useful cannon fodder. In the next moment, before his brother, Shen Gongbao slowly presented the 3rd cup of the enchanted blood wine to the Dragon King. Your Majesty, I apologize for being too forceful earlier. This is my conciliatory offering. Without regard for the Dragon King's thoughts, Shen Gongbao seized the creature's jaw and poured the wine down his throat. Cough, cough, cough. What have you made me drink? Perhaps due to his weakened state or some other reason, before Shen Gongbao even uttered a spell, the Dragon King felt unwell throughout his entire being. Too feeble. Can't even withstand my blood curse. Brother, since the Dragon King of the North Sea has arrived here, my task is complete, and I shall graciously accept your golden core. Despite the awkwardness of the situation, the innocent Shen Xiaobao remained oblivious to such trivialities. He soon grabbed a fruit and skipped away merrily. Brother, get up quickly and apologize to the Taoist. Upon witnessing this scene, the affable Dragon King of the South hastily went to support his younger brother, introducing him to the newly assumed identity of Shen Gongbao. In a certain sense, Shen Gongbao had already seized control over the fates of the 3 dragons. They were now compelled to bind their destinies irrevocably with Shen Gongbao. Chapter 5. The Tragic Groundhog. Yet still hungry. Are you still eating? We're coming for you. This phrase undoubtedly echoes a memorable moment from the Nezha animation. There stood a fierce young lad, pointing a finger menacingly at the nose of a groundhog. With a menacing demeanor, he exclaimed, clang. The unsuspecting groundhog glanced first at Nezha and then at the shattered bowl before him, which contained scraps and leftover food, including spoiled apples. Such simple and unappetizing fare constituted the very foundation of survival for these groundhog demons. Why, oh why, would even these lowly creatures be spared? Ah! A shriek of terror rang out. The groundhogs scattered in all directions, as if faced with the apocalypse, creating chaos all around. Just as Shen Gongbao was dealing with the three dragon kings, Nezha commenced his own endeavors. It was a gathering place for a multitude of groundhogs. By all accounts, these were the most rudimentary of the demon kind, underfed, inadequately clothed, and living in perpetual anxiety. Yet, for reasons unknown, this was the very first task assigned to Nezha by the infinite immortal, under the pretext of capturing these little demons and sending them to the Tai Su Palace for reformation. However, for Shen Gongbao, his concerns lay not with these creatures, but with his own family. His younger brother, Shen Xiaobao, was safe at his side, as Shen Gongbao's strength was sufficient for protection. But what of their father, Shen Jingdao? He was merely a righteous village teacher. Shen Gongbao understood that beings like them, of the demon race, would never find acceptance among humans. Once prejudice takes root in the heart, it is arduous to eradicate. Immortal, I am uncertain about our next course of action, he pondered. Once the Dragon King of the North had fully submitted, the Dragon King of the West transformed into a beautiful woman and timidly approached Shen Gongbao. To be candid, even at that moment, the woman felt dizzy. A serpentine dragon who had lived for millennia had been outwitted by a Taoist. Now, upon seeing Shen Gongbao, she regarded him with the same trepidation one reserves for a nemesis. What we must ascertain now is Nezha's whereabouts. Are the sea soldiers under your command of any use? The advantage of subduing these three dragon kings was that it allowed for simultaneous command over their respective shrimp and crab soldiers, a considerable force indeed. However, like the three dragon kings, these soldiers were also shackled by chains. If it were not for the sky-rending claw of the Dragon King of the West Sea, these creatures would have never escaped. Thus, these shrimp soldiers and crab generals have resolutely aligned themselves with the three great dragon kings. They care not for gods or demons. They follow whoever provides sustenance. Consequently, Shen Gongbao seeks to transform these aquatic beings into his own strength. Gather your subordinates and accompany me to a certain location, where they must remain ever prepared for battle. After a moment of contemplation, Shen Gongbao provided a somewhat ambiguous response. Yet, how could such a clever woman as the Dragon King of the West Sea fail to grasp his intent? Taoist, you cannot possibly be suggesting that we confront those demon-hunting factions, can you? Why? Are you unwilling? No, my siblings and I are quite agreeable to it. But we are uncertain about those youngsters. The words of the Dragon King of the West contained a mixture of truth and falsehood. Indeed, among the shrimp soldiers and crab generals, there were some who possessed a degree of independence. Would it be necessary to find a few leaders to cast blood curses? No. We shall certainly do our utmost for our master. We dragons are sworn enemies of those immortals. The Dragon King of the South spoke more earnestly. Sensing the slight hostility in Shen Gongbao's tone, he quickly moved to clarify. Although the Dragon King of the West and the Dragon King of the North may have expressed some grievances, the two understood the gravity of the situation. To oppose Shen Gongbao now would lead them to a certain demise, and the deities above would not regard their kind with any significance. Thus, it would be wiser to follow Shen Gongbao into the fray. Very well, let us not waste words. Gather your elites and follow me. With a low exclamation, Shen Gongbao tore apart the fabric of space before him, designating an exit at the location frequented by the groundhogs. Whoosh! As Shen Gongbao plunged through, the three dragons followed suit into the rift. As for their aquatic subordinates, save for a few who felt unwell, the remainder surged forth into the breach. Kill! Haha! Who are our enemies? It was evident that these fish demons from the ocean were formidable and harbored an innate hatred for the divine. Buzz! Soon, Shen Gongbao, accompanied by the three great dragon kings and the army of aquatic beings, tore through space to arrive at the ancestral land of the groundhogs. However, the scene before them left them utterly astonished. The area that should have been teeming with groundhog demons was now completely deserted. Only a few broken bowls remained on the ground, containing some dried scraps and a few tufts of groundhog fur. What is the meaning of this? Shen Gongbao furrowed his brow, a flicker of doubt arising in his heart. Could it be that Nezha has already captured them? Speculated the Dragon King of the South. It seems we have made this journey in vain, the Dragon King of the North remarked with some dissatisfaction. Yet, Shen Gongbao refused to concede defeat. He surveyed the surroundings and suddenly spotted some peculiar traces. Look over there. Shen Gongbao pointed to some fresh footprints on the ground, and remarked that these tracks were newly made, likely left by the groundhogs not long ago. This indicated that their departure was recent. At this moment, the normally cautious Dragon King of the West Sea offered a decisive answer. Daozhong, it seems we have arrived a step too late. Look, what is this? It turned out that the meticulous woman had discovered fragments of scales buried in the earth. Such remnants were not of this world. They could only have originated from the armor of celestial soldiers. It appeared we were indeed late. The groundhogs had most likely been captured for alchemical purposes. Shen Gongbao harbored no illusions regarding his subordinates. Whether they believed it or not, it mattered little. Regardless of whether they were of the Sea tribe or these feeble monsters, once they fell into the clutches of Yushu Kong, their fate was sealed. They would be transformed into elixirs. Suddenly, a sense of foreboding enveloped Shen Gongbao as his eyelids twitched. According to the original narrative, once these unfortunate groundhogs were apprehended, their next target would be Shen Gongbao's father. His father, a paragon of righteousness, would likely not resist. Instead, he might willingly walk into the trap. Little leopard, I entrust you with a task. Locate my father's whereabouts, and do so swiftly. As Shen Gongbao's father was a rural teacher who roamed the 7 mountains and 5 ridges to instruct disciples, attempting to cultivate fledgling monsters into something greater. He frequently changed locations, making his movements elusive. At this moment, only Shen Xiaobao could pinpoint his father's location accurately. Brother, is something wrong? Do not concern yourself with the details. Just find his location quickly, or we will be in grave danger. Chapter 6. Nezha, release my father. Shen Gongbao, do you dare to face me? Our father is in peril. Assist me in locating him. As he spoke, Shen Gongbao utilized the sky-ripping claw to tear several openings. The 7 mountains and 5 ridges encompassed an expansive territory. Perhaps sensing Shen Gongbao's urgency, the Dragon King of the West Sea joined him in employing the sky-ripping claw. Daozhong, I shall assist you. Let us each search half the area. Indeed, let us proceed. Leopards are not only swift, but also possess keen olfactory senses. Little Leopard sniffed at the fissures, and with a strong scent, he could make a determination. As it turned out, Shen Gongbao's deductions were correct. When those groundhogs were captured, the members of the demon hunting team had exhibited peculiar behavior. Yet, driven by the desire to prove himself, Nezha commenced a second hunt, targeting Shen Gongbao of the 7 mountains and 5 ridges. Perhaps due to his role in raising Shen Gongbao, numerous minor monsters had come to seek his tutelage. This elder leopard lived up to his name, conducting himself with utmost integrity. In a future where the illustrious Bull Demon King is well known, he too once bowed beneath the tutelage of a master. This sentiment was not lost even on Nezha of the Demon Hunter Squad. Yet, bound by duty and the lingering spirit of Ao being within him, Nezha found himself compelled to engage in actions that furthered malevolence. Meanwhile, the endeavors of Shen Gongbao and his companions encountered difficulties. Moments later, Shen Xiaobao opened his eyes, his expression clouded with unease. Brother, I can no longer sense our father's aura. What? Shen Gongbao felt his heart sink. How could this be? There are 2 possibilities, Shen Xiaobao deduced. Either father has met with an unfortunate incident, or he is ensnared by a formidable barrier that conceals his presence. Shen Gongbao clenched his fists, a flicker of fury igniting in his eyes. It must be the Jade Void Palace's doing. They have abducted the groundhog. And now they target my father. This is a ploy to force my hand. The 3 Dragon Kings exchanged glances, at a loss for what to do. Taoist, what should we do now? The West Sea Dragon King inquired cautiously. Shen Gongbao inhaled deeply, striving to regain his composure. Let us divide into several groups, each armed with fireworks. Report any findings immediately. It may be the most foolish of plans, yet it stood as their only recourse. Fortunately, their numbers were substantial. Shen Gongbao, Shen Xiaobao, the 3 Dragon Kings, and their aquatic soldiers. Given enough time, they could surely scour the entire area. However, the question loomed. Would Nezha grant him that time? Would the Demon Hunter Squad allow it? That's a splendid idea. Let us commence. Upon hearing this, the West Sea Dragon King nodded vigorously, though the woman was captivating. Her intellect shone brilliantly. He promptly turned to relay instructions to his subordinates. The South Sea and North Sea Dragon Kings mirrored his actions. Thank you all, prepare yourselves. And take your positions. Swiftly, Shen Gongbao and his companions set forth in various directions. He transformed into a shadow, darting through the forest, his nose twitching as he sought to capture his father's scent. Suddenly, Shen Gongbao halted, a glimmer of surprise flashing in his eyes. It was Shen Xiaobao's firework signal. Brother, I have found father. Shen Xiaobao exclaimed loudly, his voice tinged with a sob. Father has severed an arm, surrendering to them. Hurry, brother. As in the original tale, it was once again Shen Xiaobao who discovered Shen Gongbao. Yet this young lad had grown wiser. Unlike before, when tragedy struck, upon discovering their father's bonds, he promptly set off the fireworks. Witnessing the dazzling display, Nezha initially stood in awe, foolishly exclaiming, "How beautiful!" But soon, a torrent of ferocity swept through the air. Upon witnessing the unfolding scene, the nearby deer youth furrowed his brow. This was the power of a golden immortal. Who could it be? In their recollection, Shen Gongbao had not reached such a level. Moreover, it was inconceivable for a golden immortal to manifest in this rustic locale. Conversely, Nezha's keen eyes discerned that familiar silhouette. "Ah, Shen Gongbao, what brings you here?" "Let me reiterate, I am Shen Gongbao, you insolent brat. Release my father." At that moment, Shen Gongbao was consumed by rage. Like a streak of golden lightning, he surged forward with unparalleled speed. The sheer force of his movement generated a sonic boom. "Ah, do not approach." The deer youth, sensing the imminent danger, swiftly drew a golden longbow from his back, knocking 3 shimmering arrows. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3 golden arrows soared through the air, aimed directly at Shen Gongbao. However, Shen Gongbao's velocity was astoundingly rapid. Before the arrows could close in, he had already reached Nezha's side. Bang! With a resounding crash, Shen Gongbao unleashed a punch that sent Nezha flying several dozen yards. Thud! Ah! Nezha landed heavily on the ground, momentarily unable to rise. The deer youth was taken aback and hastily readied another arrow, yet Shen Gongbao had already arrived before him. "Get out of my way!" With a furious roar, Shen Gongbao struck with his palm, sending both the youth and his bow hurtling backwards, crashing through several trees before finally coming to a halt. "Father!" Shen Gongbao rushed to embrace the barely conscious Shen Jingdao, his eyes brimming with sorrow and fury. Shen Jingdao feebly opened his eyes, and upon seeing his son, a flicker of solace crossed his gaze. "Father, do not speak. I will take you away." Just then, a familiar system notification resounded once more. Ding! Congratulations. You have unlocked the new character Deer Youth, Crane Youth. Your cultivation has successfully ascended to the realm of Tai Golden Immortal, currently at the mid-level. Congratulations. You have signed in for the Deer Youth's Golden Arrow technique, system upgraded to Blazing Sun Arrow, exempt. What? Isn't this the ultimate skill of Ho-E from Honor of Kings? And it allows me to unleash it infinitely. This is fantastic. However, it seems rather inappropriate to discuss such matters at present, for the newly unlocked Crane Youth had also approached, though she appeared as a woman. Her prowess was not inferior to that of the Deer Youth. Moreover, her attack style bore a resemblance to the character Yun Zhongjuan from Honor of Kings. Moreover, her tone was rather presumptuous. "Shen Gongbao, what do you intend to do? Release these monsters at once. How dare this little vixen speak to me in such a tone? Is she courting death?" Nevertheless, these two youths certainly had their advantages. As soon as the Crane Youth's words fell, a swarm of golden demon-hunting troops appeared behind them, resembling a legion of golden hornets, overshadowing the sky above. Meanwhile, upon receiving the signal, the 3 Dragon Kings arrived with their followers, creating a formidable presence that darkened the sky like an ominous cloud. "What? How dare you, Dragon Clan?" Witnessing this scene, the Deer Boy and the Crane Boy were visibly alarmed. They had initially intended to leverage their numerical superiority, but it appeared that their adversaries were not outnumbered after all. Chapter 7. The Unleashing of Shen Gongbao, ruthlessly beating the Deer and Crane Boy's 3 esteemed Dragon Kings. I beseech you to fend off these minions. I have old scores to settle with these two. A faint smile curled upon Shen Gongbao's lips as he observed the unfolding situation. Everything was within his grasp. Though the ordinary demon hunting team members were mere pawns, their sheer numbers were overwhelming. With the assistance of the Dragon Kings and their aquatic soldiers, he could now unleash his might upon the 2 boys before him. "What do you intend to do?" The Crane Boy and the Deer Boy felt a sense of trepidation as they beheld the scene. Yet, emboldened by their backing, the 2 still attempted to maintain an air of bravado. "How dare you speak to your senior like that?" A cruel smile flickered across Shen Gongbao's face upon hearing their words. Only the infinite immortal was aware of his father's plight, and these 2 brats were evidently under the old man's tutelage. It was abundantly clear that capturing Shen Gongbao's father was a ploy to coerce him into continued servitude, compelling him to undertake heinous tasks. "We are all ancient foxes. Spare us the pretense," he declared. "Enough with the idle chatter. Let us settle this matter directly." After consuming a golden elixir, the Deer Boy regained his former strength. Together with the Crane Boy, they resumed their combative stance. While it was possible to use his demonic blood to control the 2, Shen Gongbao found the lingering resentment within him intolerable. If he did not deliver a thorough beating to these 2, it would be far too lenient. Buzz! In the next moment, An astonishing event transpired before the dear boy's eyes. Shen Gongbao had conjured a beautiful longbow, even more dazzling than the one he held. Such trickery! Prepare yourself. The crane boy was confident in his archery skills. However, just as he drew back his bowstring and released a flurry of golden arrows, Shen Gongbao shot forth an arrow that transformed into a golden crow mid-air. With extraordinary force, it shattered the golden light emitted by the dear boy's arrows and struck him directly, leaving him disoriented. Boom. This. Before the dear boy could comprehend the situation, Shen Gongbao teleported in front of him and delivered a powerful punch. Smack. According to conventional wisdom, one should refrain from striking the face. Yet, in this moment, Shen Gongbao was consumed by rage, targeting nothing less than your visage. With one powerful blow, half of Lu Tongzi's face swelled, 2 incisors, and a canine shattered. Yet, this was merely an appetizer. Before Lu's body had a chance to soar away, Shen Gongbao delivered another knee to his abdomen. A piercing wail erupted from Lu Tongzi, 3 teeth spewing forth amid a torrent of blood. His physique, which appeared rather unimposing, contorted into a shrimp-like shape. Suddenly, with a flash of golden light, Lu Tongzi's form twisted and transformed, reverting to his true nature as a nearly 2-meter-long spotted deer. Having endured consecutive blows to his abdomen and face, this once graceful creature now lay in a pitiful state, sprawled on the ground with its legs flailing helplessly in the air, emitting mournful cries as if gripped by unimaginable agony. You! How dare you! Witnessing his companion, whom he had shared countless moments with, reduced to such a tragic state, He Tongzi let out a thunderous roar, intent on rushing to the rescue. However, he was unprepared for Shen Gongbao, who, with a hint of sadistic delight, raised his head. A cruel smile adorned his face. Little girl, do you think you can meddle in my lesson for this fawn? Do you believe I won't strip you of your feathers? What? You? Upon hearing these words, He Tongzi was seized by uncontrollable fury. She unfurled 2 ethereal crane wings from her back, each feather glinting with a metallic sheen, and surged forward. Yet Shen Gongbao remained unfazed, once more drawing his divine bow, the bow of Hoi. Now taste my sun arrow. Whoosh. A golden light streaked through the sky, racing towards He Tongzi. The arrow transformed mid-flight into a blazing golden crow, exuding an intense heat as it lunged for its target. He Tongzi's face paled, and she frantically flapped her wings in an attempt to evade. But the golden crow, seemingly imbued with a will of its own, relentlessly pursued her. Boom. The golden crow collided with He Tongzi, erupting in a blinding flash. She let out a desperate scream as she plummeted from the sky, crashing heavily to the ground. A large portion of her wings was scorched, feathers strewn about like remnants of a battle. The once pristine white feathers were now charred and disheveled. You dare! He Tongzi struggled to rise, but her injuries were too severe, forcing her to lie on the ground, gasping for breath. Shen Gongbao chuckled coldly, sheathing his bow and leisurely approaching her. Little girl, do you now comprehend the severity of the situation? He crouched down, gripping He Tongzi's chin. You younglings. So naive to think that with that old fool backing you, you can act with impunity? Fear flickered in He Tongzi's eyes, quickly replaced by stubborn defiance. If you harm us, my master will not let you go. Ha ha. Shen Gongbao erupted into laughter, musing that the old fellow was likely engrossed in alchemy, leaving no time for you all. As he guffawed, he seized the delicate neck of the crane boy with one hand, forcefully pinning the young girl to the ground. The posture was somewhat unbecoming, evoking unspeakable thoughts. What do you intend to do with me? The crane boy's earlier bravado evaporated, replaced by profound fear reflected in his gaze. Yet, Shen Gongbao gently patted the girl's fair face, remarking, You do possess a certain charm. I shall spare your beauty today, but plucking is inevitable. As he spoke, he extended his other hand beneath the wings of this flying crane. With a snap, he did not merely pluck one feather at a time, but rather wrenched away a substantial handful. Ah no, you stop. Shen Gongbao proved to be a master, targeting the softest feathers, those prized for crafting down jackets. The warmest and most valuable plumage of all avians. For the crane boy, this particular feather was undeniably precious, and excessive plucking would hinder his cultivation. The pain was something only those who experienced it could truly comprehend. You cease this. You give it back. Sensing his sister's agony, the still-rolling fawn struggled to rise, uttering words of protest against Shen Gongbao's malevolence. However, as he attempted to stand, his words inadvertently drew Shen Gongbao's attention once more. I nearly forgot. Your actions led to my father's severed hand. Should there not be some form of compensation? What do you intend? Trembling at Shen Gongbao's sinister gaze, the fawn quaked in fear. I shall sever your antlers, to brew wine for my father. Chapter 8. severing the fawn's antlers for Shen Gongbao's wine. Ah, you, Master Uncle. You. Upon hearing Shen Gongbao's declaration and recalling his earlier display of prowess, the fawn was understandably terrified, his face paling in shock. Yet Shen Gongbao's smile only grew brighter. Call all you wish. No one will come to your aid. Ah, please, no? The fawn, horrified at the prospect of losing his antlers, pleaded fervently. Don't take my horns. Struggling with all his might, he found himself powerless against the overwhelming injuries. Shen Gongbao's cold chuckle resonated as he grasped the base of the fawn's antlers. Fear not, I shall be gentle. In his hand, a glinting dagger materialized. No, stop. The crane girl, disregarding her own injuries, rushed forward to intervene. Yet, with a mere flick of his hand, a golden light sent her flying away. Do not fret. Little one, your turn shall come shortly, declared Shen Gongbao, not deigning to glance back. The dagger in his hand rested against the base of the deer antlers. A piercing scream escaped from the deer youth. With a flick of his wrist, the dagger traced a graceful arc. With a sharp crack, a crystalline antler severed cleanly. Blood gushed forth, staining half of the deer youth's face crimson. Ah, the quality of this antler is quite commendable, Shen Gongbao mused, twirling the antler in his hand. It shall serve my father well for brewing medicinal liquor. You fiend. The deer youth trembled in agony, his eyes filled with terror and resentment. A fiend? Huh. Compared to the deeds of your master, what I have done pales in comparison, Shen Gongbao scoffed. He raised the dagger once more, aiming for another antler. No, please, no. The deer youth closed his eyes in despair. At that moment, a furious shout echoed from afar. Stop. It was the voice of Shen Jingdao. Only he, Shen Gongbao's father, possessed the authority to halt his son's actions. Shen Jingdao, nursing a severed hand, approached unsteadily with the aid of Shen Xiaobao, preventing Shen Gongbao from severing the other antler. Father, were you not instructed to cultivate your injuries? You dare to be so audacious. How can you treat an immortal with such disrespect? Shen Jingdao, radiating righteousness, resembled a diligent rural teacher. Yet, he remained oblivious to the fact that the current Chan sect was mired in corruption. The adage gold and jade on the outside, rotten silk within aptly described these individuals. Father, you may not yet realize, but the monsters they captured previously have not been reformed. Witnessing his father's naivety, Shen Gongbao could not help but laugh in exasperation. What are you saying, you rascal? Father, do you not understand? They intend to take you ordinary monsters back for what purpose? Of course, to receive the teachings of the immortals. It must be admitted that the old leopard was overthinking. Is that even possible? Shen Gongbao retorted with a chuckle. I am within the Chan sect. Could I be unaware? They intend to use you for alchemical concoctions. As he spoke, Shen Gongbao seized the two youths' talisman pouches, dumping out dozens of pill-like elixirs, some still in their nascent form. Father, as a seasoned expert of the Qishan and Wuling Mountains, could you discern if these golden pills are flawed? Ah, this, as the saying goes. A master's skill is evident upon the first display. The few fully refined golden pills were indistinguishable, but the half-finished products were glaringly apparent. They were unmistakably the inner cores of monsters. Shen Jingdao's complexion turned ashen as he gazed upon the elixirs. Trembling, he picked up a half-finished pill, scrutinizing it closely. How could this be? Shen Jingdao's voice quivered with disbelief. Though he was but a mere creature of the demon race, he was nonetheless well-versed in the ways of the world. With a single glance, he recognized the origins of these semi-finished elixirs. Were these potions truly crafted from the core essence of demons? A note of incredulity tinged Shen Jingdao's voice. Shen Gongbao nodded and replied, Father, do you still not comprehend? Those so-called immortals are not virtuous beings at all. They capture these demons not for enlightenment, but for the purpose of alchemy. Upon hearing this, a wave of sorrow washed over Shen Jingdao. He had always believed that immortals occupied a lofty position, deserving of reverence. However, it now appeared that these immortals were nothing more than hypocritical charlatans. How can you do this? Shen Jingdao exclaimed in anger. Lu Tongzi and He Tongzi were taken aback, their hearts racing. They had not anticipated that Shen Gongbao would unravel their secrets so swiftly. Master Uncle, allow us to explain, Lu Tongzi began, but was abruptly interrupted by Shen Gongbao. Explain? What is there left to explain? Shen Gongbao sneered. Soon, Shen Jingdao's young demon disciples gathered around, drawn by the commotion. Observing the semi-finished demon elixirs, several small demons felt a deep sense of despondency. Notably, a bull demon wielding an axe trembled as he picked up a pink demon elixir and spoke in a quivering voice. This is my beloved, the jade-faced fox. No wonder she has been ignoring me. I shall slay you. Recognizing that this elixir belonged to the demoness he adored, The bull demon raised his axe, ready to strike at Lu Tongzi. Stand down. At that critical moment, however, Shen Gongbao slowly lifted his remaining arm. Do not act recklessly. They are, after all, from the Yusu Palace. Before Shen Gongbao could finish his sentence, Shen Gongbao interjected. Father, what are you hesitating for? Will you continue to place your trust in these duplicitous immortals? Shen Gongbao's voice was laced with fury. Shen Gongbao fell silent for a moment, letting out a sigh. Bower, I understand your grievances. However, we are demons, and opposing the immortals would be akin to striking a stone with an egg. Shen Gongbao scoffed. Father, you are too naive. Do you believe that if we do not provoke them, they will spare us? Look at these demon elixirs. They have long regarded us as mere ingredients for their alchemical concoctions. Shen Gongbao gazed at the demon elixir in his hand, a flicker of pain and internal conflict crossing his eyes. Did he not understand this truth? Yet, as the leader of his clan, he had to consider the well-being of the entire race. Bower, I recognize your point. But do we truly possess the strength to contend with the entirety of the Chan sect? Shen Gongbao said with a bitter smile. A glimmer of resolve shone in Shen Gongbao's eyes. Father, we do not need to confront the entirety of the Chan sect. We merely need to unveil their true selves to the world. Your implication is that Shen Gongbao is contemplative. However, before Shen Gongbao could elaborate, a cry for help echoed from the sky. It was the Dragon King of the West Sea. Master Shen, please come to my aid. This troublesome brat Nezha is proving too difficult to handle. It turns out that while Shen Gongbao was tormenting the two young disciples, Nezha was toying with the three great Dragon Kings, leaving them in disarray and utterly helpless, thus turning to Shen Gongbao for assistance. In Chapter 9, Shen Gongbao and Nezha engage in a dialogue. Indeed, Master Shen, do join us. These three wretched catfish are far too weak. At this moment, Nezha seemed to set his sights on Shen Gongbao. Despite being a member of the demon-catching team, he did not enjoy a cordial rapport with the deer boy and the crane boy. You, how did you regain control of this body? Wasn't it agreed that my disciple Ao Bing would take charge? Observing Nezha's demeanor, Shen Gongbao felt at a loss for words. The decision to have young Nezha participate in the assessment at Yushu Palace was merely a means to procure the elixir needed to revive Ao Bing. The original plan was for Nezha to vacate the body while Ao Bing harnessed the spirit energy to combat. Yet, the figure before him, radiating demonic energy, could only be Nezha's true self. Did he think others were fools? Could he not even recognize this impostor? Or perhaps, the other party feigned ignorance while fully aware. Well, you see, I might have consumed a tad too many drowsiness pills, leading to a bit of resistance. Young Nezha maintained a carefree demeanor, utterly oblivious to the fact that the infinite immortal was the true antagonist. Do you not realize we have been manipulated? As a time traveler, Shen Gongbao was genuinely reluctant to engage with this young Nezha. Yet, unexpectedly, the little demon child thrust his fiery spear forward. Come on, Master Shen. Let us have another bout. Shen Gongbao regarded the audacious youth before him with a sense of helplessness. Are you certain you wish to fight me? Even your master, Tai Jinren, would not dare to speak to me in such a manner. Nezha, unfazed, responded with a grin. Master Shen, your statement lacks merit. My master was merely yielding to you. I, however, shall not. Shen Gongbao shook his head. Since you are so intent on fighting, do not blame me for my lack of courtesy. With that, a long whip suddenly appeared in Shen Gongbao's hand, shimmering with a cold light. Nezha, undeterred, ignited his fiery spear into a blazing inferno. Come forth. Nezha bellowed, initiating the first strike. In a flash, he appeared before Shen Gongbao, thrusting his spear directly at his chest. Shen Gongbao, unfazed, casually waved his whip, effortlessly neutralizing Nezha's assault. Youngster, your speed leaves much to be desired. Shen Gongbao remarked with a smile. Nezha, undaunted, launched another attack. This time, he exerted every ounce of his strength, transforming the fiery spear into a multitude of blazing lights that encircled Shen Gongbao. Yet, Shen Gongbao remained unfazed. With a graceful flick of his long whip, a beam of azure light swept forth, instantaneously neutralizing Nezha's assault. Youngster, your prowess is still lacking, Shen Gongbao remarked coolly. Nezha, taken aback, did not anticipate Shen Gongbao's formidable strength. Nonetheless, he did not relent. Instead, he launched another attack. This time, he unveiled his ultimate technique, 3 heads and 6 arms. Nezha donned the Qianquan ring upon his wrist, instantly manifesting the form of 3 heads and 6 arms, wielding 3 fiery spears. Shen Gongbao, behold! Nezha shouted, thrusting the 3 fiery spears simultaneously at Shen Gongbao. A flicker of surprise crossed Shen Gongbao's eyes, yet he did not falter. Instead, he swiftly retreated, evading Nezha's onslaught. Indeed, your strength is commendable, Shen Gongbao chuckled, but it is still insufficient to conquer me. With that, his whip transformed into a streak of golden light, aiming directly for Nezha. Upon witnessing this, Nezha hurriedly raised his fiery spear in defense. However, the might of Shen Gongbao's attack proved overwhelming, leaving Nezha unable to withstand it. With a resounding crash, Nezha was sent flying, crashing heavily to the ground. Now do you comprehend my might? Shen Gongbao laughed. Nezha rose from the ground, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. Undaunted, he declared, Shen Gongbao, do not be so smug. I have yet to reveal my ultimate move. With that, Nezha suddenly produced a golden ring from his bosom, his treasured Qianquan ring. Shen Gongbao, prepare yourself. Nezha bellowed, hurling the Qianquan ring towards Shen Gongbao. A glimmer of astonishment flashed in Shen Gongbao's eyes. He had not anticipated that Nezha possessed such a magical artifact. Nevertheless, he remained composed, swiftly retreating to dodge the ring's attack. Youngster, you truly possess an abundance of magical treasures, Shen Gongbao admitted candidly, feeling a twinge of envy towards Nezha, who at such a tender age wielded numerous magical artifacts and the power of the demon orb, while he, as the so-called elder, had only 2 or 3 protective charms after so many years, far inferior to this young lad. Just as he prepared to continue his assault, he noticed a blue spirit emerging from Nezha's body. It was none other than Ao Bing, Shen Gongbao's disciple. Master, cease your attack. If Nezha exerts too much force, his physical form will shatter. Upon seeing his young disciple appear, Shen Gongbao felt as if he had received an unspoken command from the depths of his soul, compelling him to halt his onslaught. Ao Bing, how did you manage to emerge? Quickly return, lest this group of individuals should discover your presence. Upon hearing the words of the master, the azure soul swiftly retreated. Nevertheless, it is fortunate that the situation remains manageable. At this moment, the 2 young ones have already fallen into the hands of the demon clan, while the celestial demon-catching team has been completely intercepted by the sea tribe. It is improbable that anyone will witness the unfolding scene here. As for Tai Jinren, this old fellow is more aware of the circumstances than I am. Naturally, he will assist in concealing the matter. Oh dear, what are you doing out again? Hurry back. As anticipated, this one-on-one duel is unlikely to take place. Soon enough, the Tai Jinren, speaking with a strong Sichuan accent, found the opportunity to confront Shen Gongbao mid-air. Shen Gongbao, you are, after all, an elder. What are you doing? Upon seeing the chubby figure riding a flying pig, Shen Gongbao felt his previous anger dissipate. Having watched numerous animated series and dramas, he had always perceived Tai Jinren as a figure of elegance. Today, he truly embodies that image. Simultaneously, a familiar system notification appeared. Ding! Congratulations on unlocking a new character. Tai Jinren. Congratulations on signing in for Tai Jinren's 9-Dragon Divine Fire Shield. Ding! Congratulations on your cultivation rising to the pinnacle of Tai Golden Immortal Realm. Excellent. Although in the original narrative, Shen Gongbao and Tai Jinren were not strangers, for a transmigrated Shen Gongbao, this was his first encounter so close to Tai Jinren. What delighted him even more was witnessing his cultivation level steadily ascend. Tai Jinren is one of the 12 golden immortals predetermined by the Chan sect, destined to reach the realm of the Luo Golden Immortal in the future. Without the existence of this sign-in system, the disparity in cultivation levels between the original Shen Gongbao and Tai Jinren would have been astronomical. Even during the Fengshan War, Shen Gongbao was not listed among the golden immortals. However, now the situation is vastly different. Just a small step remains before Shen Gongbao can attain the status of the Luo Golden Immortal. Chapter 10. The Infinite Immortal Elder slaughters Chuntang Pass and captures Li Jing and his wife. Senior brother, do you not understand? These demons, once captured, will be refined into golden elixirs. Knowing that little Nezha's words fall on deaf ears, Shen Gongbao opted for a more reasonable approach, hoping that Tai Jinren would comprehend the gravity of the matter. Throughout the journey, Nezha's state fluctuated, one moment employing ice-based spells, the next reverting to his true form. Does he truly believe others cannot grasp the situation? The Deer Boy and Crane Boy have already laid out the facts. These are indisputable truths. The entire scenario should be easily comprehensible. The Chan sect is currently preparing for the Fengshan War, urgently needing to maintain its dominant position while guarding against the interception by the Jia sect. They require a substantial number of golden elixirs to significantly enhance the strength of their disciples. However, the traditional method of alchemy is both time-consuming and labor-intensive. Thus, the idea was fixated upon these demonic beings, creating a logical loop. Surely, even the slowest of minds, like that of Tai Jinren, would comprehend this. At that very moment, The heavens above Chintang Pass grew dark and foreboding, as thunder rumbled and lightning flashed, reminiscent of an impending apocalypse. The onlookers gazed upward, witnessing a colossal dragon, resembling a gnarled branch, emerge from the ominous clouds, exuding an overwhelming aura of power. Its form was cloaked in ebony scales, with eyes that glimmered with a chilling intent to kill. With a thunderous roar, it opened its massive jaws and indiscriminately unleashed its wrath upon Chintang Pass. Black dragon breaths rained down like a torrential downpour, laying waste to all in their path. Buildings crumbled, the ground fissured, and flames soared into the sky. Everyone, take cover. As the guardians of Chintang Pass, Li Jing and his wife immediately stepped forward. Although destruction had already commenced, the local magistrate maintained a semblance of respect. Mighty Dragon God, we have established an accord with the Dragon King of the East Sea, granting us 7 days of peace. It was revealed that the Dragon King sought to resurrect his son, Ao Bing, and had commanded Shen Gongbao to encircle Chintang Pass with the 3 great Dragon Kings, promising not to attack within the 7-day period. Yet, only 5 days had passed. By all accounts, the Dragon Clan should not have launched an assault. Nevertheless, the great dragon erupted into laughter. The East Sea Dragon Clan has brazenly escaped from their abyss and now dares to wreak havoc upon the mortal realm. The charges against you are now undeniable. Had Shen Gongbao or Tai Jinren been present, they would have recognized the voice as that of Wuliang Xianwen, the foremost disciple of Yushu Palace. Regrettably, the assembled crowd were mere mortals, few capable of discerning the truth. What do you mean by that? Li Jing suddenly sensed a disquieting change, as though ensnared in a vast and sinister vortex. You insignificant humans need not concern yourselves. Today, I shall leave none of you unscathed. The dragon's immense form nearly obscured the entire sky, its scales glimmering with an eerie black luminescence that seemed to devour the surrounding light. With each breath, dark smoke billowed from its nostrils, suffusing Chintang Pass with a pungent scent of sulfur. You pitiful mortals dare to oppose the Dragon Clan. Today marks your demise. The dragon's voice resonated like rolling thunder, echoing through the air. It opened its gaping maw, expelling torrents of black dragon breath, fiery in its intensity, yet imbued with a frigid aura of death. Wherever it struck, all was reduced to ashes. The citizens of Chintang Pass fled in terror, their cries and screams intertwining in a cacophony of despair. Despite the valiant efforts of Li Jing and his wife to resist, they appeared insignificant before the dragon's formidable might. Their spells met the dragon's armored hide, but, like a mere tickle, it posed no threat whatsoever. You must flee. Seek the aid of Shen Gongbao and Tai Jinren. Li Jing shouted to the soldiers beside him. Though fear gripped their hearts, the soldiers mustered their courage and sprinted toward the direction of Shen Gongbao and Tai Jinren. Observing this, the colossal dragon unleashed a furious roar. It swung its massive claws toward the soldiers. In terror, they dodged, yet many were struck by the dragon's talons, hurtling away amidst their anguished screams. Beast, cease your assault, Li Jing bellowed, his sword radiating a brilliant light. Channeling all his magical energy, he thrust toward the dragon. The dragon cast a disdainful glance at him and exhaled a torrent of dragon breath. Li Jing hastily evaded, yet was grazed by the fiery breath, his armor melting away as he was pinned beneath the dragon's claw. Ha ha ha, so you are Li Jing, come along with me. My lord, Lady Yin cried out in anguish. Her eyes brimmed with fury and despair as her sword glowed even more brilliantly. She charged at the dragon, vowing to perish alongside it. The dragon emitted another roar, unleashing a more potent breath. Though Lady Yin fought valiantly, she too was struck, pinned beneath another of the dragon's claws. You shall join me as a guest. The skies above Chintang Pass were shrouded in black flames. The dragon circled in the air, continuously spewing its breath, transforming the entire Chintang Pass into a sea of fire. The wails of the populace and the sounds of collapsing buildings intertwined, creating a hellish tableau. Ha ha ha, this is the fate of those who oppose the Dragon Clan. The dragon's maniacal laughter echoed, filled with cruelty and bloodlust. This scene was clearly observed by a nightmarish creature disguised as a pool of water. Good heavens! What manner of beast is this? Far more formidable than the Dragon Clan. As a sea creature, the nightmarish being was familiar with every dragon, yet had never encountered this one. Furthermore, the dragon's powers far surpassed those of the 4 great dragon kings, leading one to suspect an intentional framing of the Dragon Clan. Who are you? Why do you masquerade as a dragon? Despite being firmly subdued, Li Jing's mind raced. He had previously witnessed the strength of the East Sea Dragon King. Yet this dragon was leagues beyond that. Thus, his first thought was conspiracy. Someone sought to unjustly incriminate the Dragon Clan, and Chintang Pass was merely a sacrificial pawn. Ha ha, quite astute, but you are not worthy to know my identity. Come along quietly. In the next moment, gazing upon the inferno that was once Chintang Pass and the two humans he had captured, the false dragon ascended into the sky with glee. Before departing, the dragon deliberately left its claw marks in conspicuous places, perhaps fearing that others might not recognize the handiwork of the dragon clan. Yet, such a clumsy display, can it truly deceive anyone? My goodness, I must hasten to find Nezha and inform him of the situation here. Shortly after the dragon's silhouette vanished completely, the Yiksha slowly revealed its form. It was imperative to locate either Nezha or Shen Gongbao. Otherwise, the citizens of Chintang Pass might perish in vain. Chapter 11. Shen Gongbao, with unwavering righteousness, surprisingly wished to release the two children, Lu and he. Plop. The Yiksha swiftly submerged into the water, swimming toward the direction of Shen Gongbao and Tai Jinren. Aware of the urgency, it needed to relay the tragic events at Chintang Pass to them without delay. Meanwhile, Shen Gongbao and Tai Jinren were in confrontation with Nezha. Despite being steadily pushed back by Shen Gongbao, Nezha refused to concede defeat. Shen Gongbao, do not revel in your triumph. I still have my trump card, Nezha declared, once again brandishing the Chincoin circle, preparing to launch an attack. At that moment, the Yiksha suddenly leapt from a river, exclaiming loudly, "Alas! Chintang Pass is in peril." Upon hearing this, Shen Gongbao and Tai Jinren's expressions changed instantly. What is the matter? Shen Gongbao asked in a deep voice. The Yiksha hurriedly recounted the events of the dragon's assault on Chintang Pass in detail. What? Chintang Pass has been destroyed? Nezha was momentarily stunned. Though he was a mischievous youth, he still held deep affection for his hometown. Impossible. The dragon clan had clearly promised not to attack Chintang Pass within 7 days. Nezha exclaimed in disbelief. Even Tai Jinren, standing beside him, found this news utterly incredulous. How could this be? Aside from the Dragon King of the East Sea, aren't the other 3 dragons here? The scene before them truly left them at a loss, for they were not present at the scene. No one knew what had recently transpired. They could only rely on the Yiksha's account. However, it was indeed a dragon. Amidst the confusion, Shen Gongbao, dragging his injured body, approached unsteadily. "Bower, let them go," Shen Gongbao stated with unwavering conviction. Shen Gongbao furrowed his brow upon hearing this. "Father, what do you mean? These 2 children are our mortal enemies, seeking our lives." Shen Gongbao shook his head and spoke earnestly. "Bower, when will the cycle of vengeance cease? Although our demon clan is oppressed by the immortals, we must not lose our essence in the process. These 2 children, though at fault, are still young. We ought to respond to enmity with virtue and grant them an opportunity for redemption." Shen Gongbao scoffed. "Father, you are too naive. They are from the Yushu Palace. How could they genuinely repent? Releasing them is akin to letting a tiger return to the mountains." Shen Gongbao sighed. "Leopard, I am aware that you harbor resentment within your heart. However, we must not allow the transgressions of others to transform us into villains ourselves. Although our demon clan has endured oppression, we must also uphold our dignity and principles." After a moment of silence, Shen Gongbao's eyes flickered with a hint of struggle. He understood his father's well-meaning intentions, yet the humiliations suffered by their kind over the years left him unable to find peace. At that moment, Tai Jinren suddenly spoke. "Shen Gongbao, your father speaks wisely. When will the cycle of vengeance cease? How about this? I shall act as a mediator. Let both parties cease hostilities. What say you?" Shen Gongbao glanced at Tai Jinren and retorted with a cold smile. "Ah, Tai Jinren, you certainly excel at playing the benevolent one. But on what grounds do you assure us that these 2 youths will not trouble us again?" Tai Jinren replied with a faint smile. "I can guarantee it in the name of the Jade Void Palace. Should they dare to infringe upon us again, I shall personally ensure they face justice." Upon hearing this, a flicker of hesitation crossed Shen Gongbao's eyes. Tai Jinren held a significant position within the Jade Void Palace. With his assurance, there was indeed a greater sense of security. Just then, Nezha interjected, "Shen Gongbao, I believe my master has a valid point. Why not let them go? We should swiftly return to Chintang Pass to assess the situation." Shen Gongbao studied Nezha, then cast a glance at his father, ultimately letting out a sigh. Despite his awareness of the unfolding narrative and the consequences of releasing a tiger back to the mountain, he could not silence the murmurs of the masses. Reluctantly, he conceded. "Very well, for the sake of my father and Tai Jinren, I shall release them." With that, Shen Gongbao waved his hand, lifting the restraints on the deer boy and the crane boy. The 2 youths regained their freedom and promptly scurried behind Tai Jinren, casting wary glances at Shen Gongbao. Observing this, Tai Jinren chuckled. "Well, since the matter has been resolved, Let us hasten back to Chintang Pass. I am eager to uncover who is orchestrating these mischiefs. The others nodded in agreement. Shen Gongbao shot a cold glance at the deer boy and the crane boy, warning, remember, should there be a next time, I will not be so lenient. The two youths quickly nodded in compliance. Thus, the group hurriedly made their way back to Chintang Pass, determined to uncover the truth and restore the Dragon Clan's honor. However, unbeknownst to them, a far greater conspiracy was brewing in the shadows, awaiting their arrival. Upon the deer boy and the crane boy's hasty return to the Jade Void Palace, they immediately relayed the news of their failed plan regarding the extraction of demon pills to the infinite immortal elder. Master, alarming news. Shen Gongbao has uncovered our scheme and even confiscated our demon pills. The deer boy panted. The crane boy quickly added, indeed, Master, Shen Gongbao has grown significantly stronger. We are no match for him. He also stated his intention to expose our transgressions, revealing the true nature of the Jade Void Palace to the world. Upon hearing the report from the two young disciples, the infinite immortal merely smiled faintly, displaying no sign of panic. What is there to be alarmed about? Everything is well within my control, he said, stroking his long beard with an air of tranquility. The two disciples exchanged puzzled glances and inquired, Master, what do you mean by that? Did you foresee this outcome? The infinite immortal nodded, a glint of brilliance flashing in his eyes. Indeed, I anticipated that Shen Gongbao would uncover our scheme. Thus, I deliberately arranged for a false dragon to assault Chintang Pass, framing the Dragon Clan for the act. The dear disciple suddenly understood. So that dragon was orchestrated by you, Master. But why would you do such a thing? The infinite immortal replied with a cold smirk. My intent is to keep Shen Gongbao and Tai Jinren occupied and distracted from our true objective, while they are preoccupied with investigating the false dragon. Our plans can proceed smoothly. The crane disciple still harbored some concerns. But Master, if Shen Gongbao and the others have already learned of our intentions, what if they truly expose us? The infinite immortal waved his hand dismissively. No matter. I have long been prepared for such an eventuality. Do you know why I sought to capture Nezha's parents? The two disciples shook their heads. The infinite immortal grinned cunningly, because the parents of this demonic orb are the most crucial element in our plan. Furthermore, I have prepared a grand gift for Shen Gongbao. The deer disciple and the crane disciple were left bewildered, yet they respectfully acknowledged, Master is indeed wise. We, the foolish disciples, fail to grasp the depth of your intentions. The infinite immortal nodded in satisfaction. You may retire and rest. I shall handle the matters that lie ahead. Chapter 12. The infinite immortal frames the Dragon Clan and misleads Nezha. The two disciples bowed and withdrew, yet an uneasy feeling lingered within them. They sensed that Master's plan was far from simple. Meanwhile, Shen Gongbao and the others had hastened back to Chintang Pass. Upon witnessing the devastation, their hearts were filled with rage and sorrow. Where did this dragon emerge from? Why did it attack Chintang Pass? Nezha gritted his teeth and asked. Shen Gongbao replied solemnly, I suspect that this dragon is not truly of the Dragon Clan, but rather a disguise crafted by someone seeking to frame them. Tai Jinren nodded in agreement. Indeed. Moreover, I suspect that this incident is intricately linked to the Jade Void Palace. At that moment, a weak voice called out, You have finally returned. The group turned to see a vice commander laboriously emerging from the rubble. General Zhao. Nezha hurriedly rushed over to assist him. Young Master Nezha, my lord and lady were. This is, in truth, a trap laid by the infinite immortal. First, they disguised themselves as the Dragon Clan and ravaged the city. Then, they abducted Nezha's parents, clearly intending to provoke him. Upon hearing the news of his parents' capture, Nezha was consumed by fury, flames of anger igniting in his eyes. What? My father and mother have been taken by that dragon? Nezha ground his teeth and inquired, his fists clenched tightly, producing a menacing crackle. General Zhao weakly nodded in affirmation. Yes, young master. That dragon has captured your father and mother and has threatened to what? Nezha pressed urgently. General Zhao struggled to utter. He claimed he would subject your father and mother to relentless torment as a lesson to others. Infuriating. Nezha roared, springing to his feet. I shall confront the Dragon King of the East Sea. How dare he betray us? I will ensure he pays in blood for his treachery. With that, Nezha made to charge out. However, Shen Gongbao quickly intercepted him. Nezha, calm yourself. This matter is likely more intricate than it seems. Nezha angrily shrugged off Shen Gongbao's hand. What is there to discuss? That dragon is clearly sent by the Dragon King of the East Sea. He has taken my parents. How can I stand idly by? Master Tai interjected. Nezha, do not act impulsively. We must ascertain the truth before taking any action. Yet Nezha was deaf to their counsel, consumed by rage and vengeance. If you will not go, I shall go alone. I must rescue my parents and avenge the citizens of Chintang Pass." With that proclamation, Nezha stamped his foot, and a whirlwind of fire and wind erupted beneath him, propelling him skyward towards the East Sea. Shen Gongbao and Master Tai exchanged worried glances, each reflecting concern in the other's eyes. "This is troublesome," Shen Gongbao frowned. "Nezha's impetuous nature may lead to dire consequences." Master Tai sighed, "Indeed. We must hasten to catch up with him before he commits an irreparable act." Just as they were about to set off, General Zhao suddenly grasped Shen Gongbao's sleeve and whispered, "Master Shen, I have one more thing to tell you." Leaning down, Shen Gongbao listened as General Zhao whispered in his ear. Before the dragon left, it uttered one final message. It said that if one wishes to rescue your father and mother, they must seek it out at the Dragon Palace in the East Sea. Upon hearing this, a gleam of insight flickered in Shen Gongbao's eyes. Just as I suspected, it appears this is a deliberate trap designed to ensnare Nezha. Master Tai, having overheard General Zhao's words, furrowed his brow. "Then we must pursue Nezha at once. We cannot allow him to fall into the enemy's scheme." After a moment of contemplation, Shen Gongbao swiftly made a decision. "Master Tai, you go after Nezha and ensure you stop him from walking into the enemy's trap," Shen Gongbao asserted. "I will head to the Yushu Palace to see what I can uncover." Master Tai nodded. "Very well, I shall pursue Nezha. But what will you do at the Yushu Palace?" Shen Gongbao chuckled coldly. "Fear not, I have my own plans. I shall reveal to you the true visage of the infinite immortal." You, alas. The Supreme Being ceased to speak further and immediately employed his art of evasion, pursuing the direction in which Nezha had departed. Shen Gongbao watched as the Supreme Being vanished from sight, a glimmer of cunning flashing in his eyes. He turned to General Zhao and said, "General Zhao, you may rest assured and tend to your injuries. I shall ensure the safe return of Li Jing and his wife." General Zhao nodded gratefully. "Thank you, Taoist Shen. Please exercise utmost caution." Shen Gongbao offered a slight smile. "It is of no concern. I have my methods." With that, he transformed into a wisp of black smoke and sped towards the Jade Void Palace. Meanwhile, Nezha had soared into the skies above the East Sea. He gazed down upon the tumultuous waves, his eyes ablaze with fury. "Dragon King of the East Sea, come forth." Nezha bellowed. "How dare you betray me and abduct my parents? I shall see to it that you pay in blood for your treachery." Instantly, the sea erupted into towering waves, a colossal whirlpool forming beneath Nezha's feet. "Who dares to act with such impudence in my East Sea?" A formidable voice resonated from the depths. Soon after, a gigantic azure dragon ascended from the whirlpool. It was none other than the Dragon King of the East Sea. Upon sighting the Dragon King, Nezha's wrath surged. "Old mudfish, you finally deign to show yourself. Return my parents at once, or I shall bring unrest upon your East Sea." The Dragon King, perplexed, responded, "Nezha, what are you speaking of? When did I ever capture your parents?" Nezha scoffed. "Do not feign ignorance. The dragon that attacked Chintang Pass was clearly sent by you. Do you still dare to argue?" The Dragon King became even more bewildered. "What dragon attacked Chintang Pass? My East Sea Dragon clan has never committed such an act." Yet Nezha was beyond reason, raising his fiery spear and lunging at the Dragon King. "Prepare to meet your demise, old mudfish." The Dragon King hastily dodged while shouting, "Nezha, calm yourself. There must be a misunderstanding." However, Nezha was consumed by rage, disregarding any counsel. He wielded his fiery spear with fervor, determined to avenge his parents. At that moment, an ancient and commanding voice resonated from above. "The Dragon Clan has betrayed us and slaughtered the mortal realm, Dragon King of the East Sea. Do you acknowledge your crimes?" Just as tensions escalated between Nezha and the Dragon King, a thunderous sound echoed through the sky. Everyone looked up to behold a colossal alchemical furnace descending from the heavens, suspended above the East Sea. The furnace, resplendent in golden hues, radiated a blinding light, its surface adorned with ancient runes, exuding an aura of mystery and authority. Even more astonishing was the figure seated atop the furnace, the infinite immortal. Clad in a Taoist robe, with hair and beard as white as snow, his countenance was benevolent, yet his eyes glimmered with a chilling light. Behind him stood a throng of thousands of demon-hunting warriors, each wielding magical artifacts, exuding an air of menace. Chapter 13. The Catastrophe at the East Sea Dragon Palace. Shen Gongbao's stealthy infiltration of the Jade Void Palace. "Infinite immortal." The Dragon King of the East Sea exclaimed in surprise, a flicker of vigilance crossing his eyes. "What do you mean by that?" The immortal Wu Liang replied with a slight smile, his voice resonant. "Dragon King, your kind has betrayed trust, slaughtered at Chintang Pass, and captured Li Jing and his wife, an egregious crime. I have come today to enact justice on behalf of heaven and eradicate your malevolence." Upon hearing this, the Dragon King's fury ignited. "Nonsense. It is you who schemes in the shadows, daring to invert right and wrong here." Wuliang chuckled coldly, but then turned to Nezha. "Nezha, you are still young and unaware of the treachery of mankind. Your parents being seized by the Dragon Clan is the clearest testament." Nezha, upon hearing Wuliang's words, was consumed by rage, flames of fury igniting in his eyes. "East Sea Dragon King, how dare you abduct my parents? I shall make you pay with your blood." Nezha roared, his windfire wheels accelerating as he charged towards the Dragon King. The Dragon King, sensing the impending attack, hastily exclaimed, "Nezha, calm yourself. There must be a misunderstanding." However, Nezha was blinded by rage, unwilling to heed any explanation. He wielded his fiery spear, attacking the Dragon King with unrelenting fervor, vowing vengeance for his parents. "Old mudfish, prepare to meet your end," Nezha bellowed, as the fiery spear transformed into a streak of flame, aiming directly for the Dragon King's throat. The Dragon King, not daring to underestimate the assault, swiftly summoned the Dragon Pearl to defend himself. A thunderous crash resounded as the fire collided with the pearl, drenching the surroundings in a spray of water. "Nezha, let me explain," the Dragon King urged anxiously while fending off the attack. "Explain? What is there to explain?" Nezha shouted back. "I witnessed the dragon seize my parents with my own eyes. Can you still argue?" With that, Nezha launched another offensive, riding on the windfire wheels. Spear in hand, his movements were as swift as lightning, his assaults relentless. Although the Dragon King was powerful, he dared not harm Nezha, opting instead to evade, resulting in a stalemate. Wuliang, observing the scene, could not suppress a smirk of satisfaction. He continued to incite the conflict. "Nezha, your parents are suffering torment in the Dragon Palace. Will you not hasten to rescue them?" At these words, Nezha's fury intensified. He stamped his foot, and the windfire wheels surged forward, propelling him towards the Dragon Palace. "Nezha, do not," Tai Jinren shouted, urgently pursuing him. Yet, Nezha was deaf to all counsel. His mind solely fixated on one thought: to rescue his parents and avenge the people of Chintang Pass. Seeing this, the Dragon King also hastened after him, fully aware of the dire consequences should Nezha breach the Dragon Palace. However, Nezha's speed was astonishing. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the entrance of the palace. "Break for me," Nezha roared, as the fiery spear transformed into a blazing light, aimed directly at the grand gates of the palace. With a thunderous crash, the gates shattered in response. Nezha surged into the Dragon Palace, searching fervently for the silhouettes of his parents. However, he searched the entire Dragon Palace, yet he could not find any trace of his parents. "East Sea Dragon King, where have you hidden my parents?" Nezha roared. The East Sea Dragon King hastily explained, "Nezha, your parents are truly not with me. This is all the scheme of the infinite immortal." Yet, Nezha could not absorb any further explanations. He brandished the fire-tipped spear, fiercely attacking everything within the Dragon Palace. "Nezha, cease your actions." The Master Tai finally arrived. He promptly summoned a magical artifact to shield against Nezha's onslaught. "Master, stand aside. I seek vengeance for my parents," Nezha bellowed. Just as the main forces of Yushu Palace rushed towards the East Sea Dragon Palace, none anticipated that Shen Gongbao would suddenly strike at this moment. Above Yushu Palace, the once impregnable barrier emitted a sharp cracking sound. Following this, a vast fissure appeared in the barrier, as if the very sky had been torn asunder. "What is happening?" the disciples guarding Yushu Palace exclaimed. However, before they could react, two figures charged in through the rift. It was none other than Shen Gongbao and the West Sea Dragon King. "Shen Gongbao, what do you mean by this?" An elder from Yushu Palace shouted angrily. Shen Gongbao sneered, "What do I mean? I have come to collect debts." With that, he swung his hand fiercely, and a flash of golden light erupted. The elder immediately spat blood and was sent flying. The West Sea Dragon King, not to be outdone, transformed into a colossal black dragon and lunged toward the disciples of Yushu Palace. "This is bad. We are under attack," the disciples of Yushu Palace finally realized, hastily summoning magical artifacts to defend themselves. Yet, the strength of Shen Gongbao and the West Sea Dragon King was far too formidable for these ordinary disciples to withstand. Shen Gongbao wielded his sword with lightning speed, and wherever he passed, the disciples of Yushu Palace fell one after another. The West Sea Dragon King was even more ferocious. With a sweep of his massive tail, dozens of disciples were sent flying. "Quick, hurry and notify the Celestial Venerable," an elder shouted. However, before they could signal, A thunderous clamor of battle cries suddenly erupted outside the gates of Yushu Palace. Countless sea tribes surged from all directions, swiftly surrounding Yushu Palace. Ha ha ha, Yushu Palace, today marks your doom. SHNGNGBO laughed heartily. It turned out that this entire ordeal was SHNGNGBO's plot. He had long conspired with the West Sea Dragon King, seizing the opportunity while the main forces of Yushu Palace were away to launch this surprise attack. SHNGNGBO, you dare betray Yushu Palace? An elder shouted in fury. SHNGNGBO scoffed. Betrayal? When has Yushu Palace ever truly trusted me? Today, I shall make you pay the price. With that, he swung his hand fiercely again, and a flash of golden light appeared. The elder was instantly decapitated. The West Sea Dragon King, equally ruthless, swept his massive tail again, sending more disciples flying. Although the disciples of Yushu Palace struggled valiantly, they were utterly powerless in the face of the formidable might of Shen Gongbao and the Dragon King of the West Sea. In the blink of an eye, the gates of Yushu Palace were breached, and countless sea tribes surged in. Kill. Leave not a single one alive. Shen Gongbao bellowed. At his command, the sea tribes surged forth like a tidal wave, overwhelming every corner of Yushu Palace. Instantly, the palace resounded with cries of battle, and blood flowed like rivers. The clash of the sea tribes and the disciples of Yushu Palace echoed thunderously, while the sparks from their magical artifacts illuminated the sky. Suspended in midair, Shen Gongbao wore a cold smile, brandishing his sword, and a veil of black mist suddenly enveloped the battlefield. I leave this to you, Dragon King of the West Sea, he intoned, and with a swift movement, he vanished into the shroud of darkness. The black dragon, transformed from the Dragon King of the West Sea, roared skyward, unleashing a colossal wave that forced the disciples of Yushu Palace to retreat. Meanwhile, the Dragon Kings of the South and North Seas had already discreetly departed the battlefield, transforming into wisps of mist that silently converged towards the depths of Yushu Palace. With a whoosh, Shen Gongbao's figure emerged from the shadows, flanked by the three Dragon Kings, all enveloped in a layer of ethereal blue water membrane, a secret technique of the West Sea Dragon clan, the hidden sea art. This technique allowed them to completely merge their presence with the surrounding humidity, evading even the protective grand formation of Yushu Palace. Li Jing and his wife were imprisoned in the lowest depths of the Xianbing prison. Shen Gongbao held a shattered jade talisman between his fingers, the key to their confinement that he had extracted from the dear boy. The old scoundrel had sealed their souls with the ninefold cold ice lock. A moment's carelessness could result in their souls scattering. The Dragon King of the South furrowed his brow. If we wish to rescue them, why take such a convoluted route? We could simply break through this wretched prison. Shen Gongbao sneered. If you wish to be turned to ash by the heavenly punishment thunder of the primordial heavenly venerable, feel free to make your move. The others looked up to see the ceiling of the Xianbing prison adorned with dark golden runes, each pulsating with the weight of heavenly authority. The Dragon King of the North inhaled sharply. This old wretch actually inscribed the heavenly calamity thunder patterns in his own dungeon? Chapter 14. At the moment Shen Gongbao sought to rescue Li Jing, he inadvertently glimpsed the investiture of the gods. This is easy. The chill was as sharp as a blade. Li Jing and his wife were bound to two ice pillars, their bodies entwined with blood-red chains. Lady Yin bore a grievous wound on her shoulder, from which black mist seeped forth. The chains were slowly siphoning their life essence. Indeed, they employed the soul-devouring chains. Shen Gongbao's pupils contracted as he raised his hand, launching 3 pitch-black bone nails. The instant the nails pierced the ice pillars, the temperature of the entire dungeon plummeted, and even the dragon scales of the kings frosted over. These were the boundary-breaking nails forged from the cold essence of the north, and he bit his fingertip, using his blood to inscribe a sinister rune upon the icy surface. Within 10 breaths, the chains would surely shatter. However, the old scoundrel would undoubtedly sense it. Before he could finish his thought, a mocking voice echoed from above. Shen Gongbao, do you think I would leave such an obvious flaw? The chains on the ice pillars suddenly surged violently. Li Jing, who had been on the verge of collapse, abruptly lifted his head, his eyes glowing crimson. In his hand materialized a halberd entwined with arcs of lightning, which he swung down upon Shen Gongbao with great ferocity. Shen Gongbao staggered back 3 steps. From his sleeve sprang forth 12 white bone flags, which withstood the force of the blow. The collision of lightning and bone flags unleashed a shockwave that cracked the very foundations of the Xianbing prison. What a masterful puppet technique. He gazed at the purple-black demonic patterns manifesting on Li Jing's forehead, a cold sneer escaping his lips. You old thief, Wu Yang. You've even resorted to using the heart-stealing demon seeds of the demon clan, making you seem more demonic than this traitor. The false Li Jing emitted inhuman howls, his body swelling with demonic energy. Lady Yin's form exploded, transforming into countless bloodbaths that surged towards the onlookers. The Dragon King of the West Sea swept his tail, a frigid wave instantly shattering half the bats. A trap. These two are mere demonic puppets. Yet Shen Gongbao suddenly burst into laughter. I have been awaiting your appearance. He crushed the jade pendant at his waist, a beam of azure light shooting skyward. It was none other than the nine-dragon divine fire shield of Tai Zhenren descending from the heavens, illuminating the entire Xianbing prison. Behold the divine fire of my sect. Shen Gongbao pressed his palms together with fervor, azure-white flames erupting from his fingertips. This fire was not of the mundane sort. Its core glimmered a ghostly blue, distorting and cracking the very space it traversed, a true manifestation of the Samadhi true fire, specifically designed to vanquish evil. Burn. The blazing flames, swirling like a tempest, engulfed the entire Xianbing prison, reducing the demonic puppets to ashes amidst their anguished cries. Ice pillars collapsed with a thunderous roar, revealing a fathomless, shadowy abyss below. 9 chains, entwined with the inscriptions of the Tao of Heaven, rose from the depths, their ends connected to a floating golden jade tablet. The surface of the jade tablet was marred with cracks, through which the words "Seal the Gods" flickered ominously. The Dragon King of the West Sea's whiskers trembled violently. These chains are siphoning the heavenly fortune nourishing the seal of gods. Shen Gongbao's pupils constricted. Each chain extended countless fine threads, continuously channeling golden light from the jade tablet into the true prison where Li Jing and his wife were held. That prison was, in fact, a miniature world conjured from the essence of the seal of gods. Suddenly, the nine-dragon divine fire shield of Tai Zhenren quaked violently. The 9 fire dragons uncontrollably lunging towards the seal of gods. This is dire. Tai Zhenren's face turned pale. The seal of gods is devouring my true fire to enhance itself. As if to validate his words, the cracks in the jade tablet healed at a visible pace. Within the prison, Li Jing and his wife began to phantomize, being refined into their true names inscribed upon the seal of gods. Shen Gongbao erupted with sudden fervor. 12 boundary-breaking nails, stained with dragon blood, shot forth from his sleeve, expertly piercing the joints of the 9 chains. Dragon Kings of the 4 Seas. Deploy the reverse-scale locking dragon formation. He bit his tongue, spewing forth a mist of blood, within which densely packed incantations of the glimmered. I shall redirect the fortune of the seal of gods back to Li Jing. In that instant, as Shen Gongbao and the 3 Dragon Kings fully activated the reverse-scale locking dragon formation, the seal of gods erupted with blinding golden light. The golden radiance surged like a tidal wave, sweeping across the entire Xianbing prison, distorting space and halting time. This is bad. The pupils of Shen Gongbao contracted sharply as he instantly sensed something amiss. The defensive mechanism of the Investiture of the Gods had been triggered. However, it was already too late. Golden light surged forth like a colossal wave, and Shen Gongbao felt his body lighten, as if an invisible force was pulling him toward the direction of the Investiture of the Gods. He attempted to summon his magical powers to resist, only to discover that the spiritual energy within him was utterly suppressed, rendering even a single finger immobile. Shen Gongbao, the Dragon King of the West Sea, roared, sweeping his dragon tail in an effort to pull him back. Yet the golden light enveloped her as well, causing her immense dragon form to shrink rapidly within the brilliance. Ultimately, she transformed into a streak of light and was drawn into the Investiture of the Gods. The Dragon Kings of the South and North Seas were likewise not spared. Their dragon bodies twisted and deformed in the golden radiance. In the end, they too became 2 streaks of light, swiftly following suit into the Investiture of the Gods. With a rush, Shen Gongbao found himself enveloped in darkness, only to reappear in a strange realm. The sky was shrouded in gray, and the earth lay desolate, with countless shattered cities and collapsed mountains barely visible in the distance. The air was thick with a heavy aura of malevolence, as if each breath carried with it an overwhelming sense of slaughter. Is this the inner world of the Investiture of the Gods? Shen Gongbao surveyed his surroundings, his brow furrowed in concern. Shen Gongbao, the voice of the Dragon King of the West Sea echoed from behind him. Turning around, he beheld the 3 great Dragon Kings also materializing in this realm, their dragon forms having morphed into human shapes, each cloaked in a faint golden light. We have been drawn into the internal world of the Investiture of the Gods, the Dragon King of the South Sea intoned gravely. It appears to be the battlefield remnants of the Investiture War. The Dragon King of the North Sea frowned and remarked, Why did the investiture of the gods absorb us? Does it perceive us as individuals destined for calamity? Just then, a deep rumbling sound reverberated through the sky. The group looked up to see countless golden runes emerging against the gray heavens, intricately weaving into a vast celestial net that slowly descended upon them. This is the trial of heaven. The expression on the Dragon King of the West Sea changed dramatically. The investiture of the gods is testing our qualifications to become deities. Shen Gongbao squinted, a cold smile gracing his lips. Since we are here, let us brave this trial of heaven. I am eager to see what the investiture of the gods can do to me. Before his words could fully resonate, the celestial net loomed above them. Countless golden runes transformed into blades, thunder, and flames, crashing down upon the four. Form the formation, Shen Gongbao commanded, as 12 bone banners flew from his sleeve, swiftly establishing a defensive array. The 3 dragon kings also summoned their respective dragon orbs, which morphed into 3 barriers, shielding the quartet within. However, the might of the trial of heaven far exceeded their expectations. The assaults manifested from the golden runes surged like an unending tide, and within mere moments, cracks began to appear in both the bone banners and the dragon orb barriers. We can't hold on much longer. The Dragon King of the South Sea gritted his teeth, exclaiming, "The power of this trial is too formidable. We cannot withstand it." A fierce glint flashed in Shen Gongbao's eyes. Since we cannot withstand it, we shall take the offensive instead. He fiercely bit down on his tongue, unleashing a mouthful of essence blood. The blood mingled with the bone banner, igniting it in azure-white flames. The 3 purities true fire, capable of incinerating heaven and earth. The azure-white flames soared into the sky, clashing with the golden runes. Wherever the flames passed, the runes shattered into fragments, and a gaping hole was torn through the heavenly net. Go! Shen Gongbao commanded sharply, leading the charge toward the breach. The 3 dragon kings swiftly followed, and the 4 transformed into streaks of light, escaping the confines of the heavenly net. Chapter 15, Astonishing. The Chan sect seeks to seize the emperor's fortune through the list of deities. Whoosh! Upon breaking free from the heavenly net, Shen Gongbao and the 3 dragon kings found themselves in a strange space. Here, there was no distinction between heaven and earth, only countless floating golden orbs. Each orb contained a sealed figure, some exuding an ethereal aura, others shrouded in demonic energy, and yet others brimming with monstrous essence. Are these the true spirits recorded by the list of deities? The West Sea Dragon King exclaimed in astonishment. Shen Gongbao's gaze swept across the orbs, suddenly stopping before one. Encased within was none other than the couple Li Jing and his wife. "We've found them." A flicker of joy crossed Shen Gongbao's eyes as he raised his hand to shatter the orb. However, at that moment, a chilling voice echoed from the void. "Those who trespass upon the core of the list of deities shall die." The void split open, and a golden-armored divine general stepped forth. Clutching a Fangdianhua halberd, he was enveloped in an overwhelming aura of heavenly might. This is the guardian of the list of deities. The North Sea Dragon King's expression grew grave. Shen Gongbao scoffed. "A mere guardian dares to obstruct me?" From his sleeve, 12 world-breaking nails flew forth, their tips glimmering with a ghostly blue light, aimed directly at the golden-armored general. Yet, with a mere flick of his Fangdianhua halberd, the nails shattered into fragments. Under the heavenly law, all are but ants. The golden-armored general intoned coldly, bringing his halberd down upon Shen Gongbao. Shen Gongbao's gaze sharpened. Rather than retreating from the onslaught of the golden-armored general, he advanced. In an instant, his long whip transformed into a black dragon, surging forth to meet the halberd. Boom! A tremendous sound erupted as the two collided, unleashing a powerful shockwave. Shen Gongbao staggered back several steps, yet he managed to fend off the golden-armored general's attack. Not without skill, the golden-armored general remarked coldly, swinging the halberd once more toward Shen Gongbao. With a glint in his eye, Shen Gongbao swiftly formed hand seals. 9-petal golden lotus, arise. With a resounding shout, 9 golden lotus flowers burst forth from his body, morphing into 9 streams of golden flames that surged toward the golden-armored general. The general, upon witnessing this, let out a disdainful snort, his halberd moving with impenetrable force, dispersing the approaching flames one by one. "Shen Gongbao, your powers are ineffective against me," the golden-armored general declared coldly. Shen Gongbao smirked. "Is that so? Then let us see how you fare against this." Having spoken, he once again summoned 12 boundary-piercing nails from his sleeve, yet this time, they shimmered with a golden radiance. "Go!" With a commanding voice, Shen Gongbao directed the nails, which transformed into 12 beams of golden light, aimed directly at the vital points of the golden-armored general. Upon witnessing this, The golden-armored general's expression shifted dramatically, and he hastily wielded his Fangtian Huaji to defend himself. However, the potency of these boundary-piercing nails far surpassed that of their predecessors. As soon as the Fangtian Huaji made contact, it was swiftly eroded by the golden light, developing fissures. What kind of divine ability is this? The golden-armored general exclaimed in terror. Shen Gongbao coldly replied, "This is a technique specifically designed to counter guardians like you. Perish." With that, he once again formed a seal with his hands, and the golden light upon the boundary-piercing nails intensified, instantly penetrating the golden-armored general's body. The golden-armored general let out a wretched scream, his form dissipating into countless golden sparks in the air. Observing this, Shen Gongbao scoffed, "Humph! A mere guardian dares to obstruct me?" He then turned to the West Sea Dragon King and said, "Let us go rescue Li Jing and his wife." The West Sea Dragon King nodded, following Shen Gongbao towards the luminous sphere where Li Jing and his wife were located. The North Sea Dragon King and the South Sea Dragon King closely trailed behind, vigilantly observing their surroundings. Upon reaching the luminous sphere, Shen Gongbao raised his hand, and a beam of golden light shot forth, striking the sphere. It shattered instantaneously, causing Li Jing and his wife to tumble out. "General Li, Madame, are you unharmed?" Shen Gongbao inquired with concern. Li Jing and Madame shook their heads and replied, "We are fine, thank you, Taoist Shen, for your rescue." Shen Gongbao nodded and urged, "We must leave this place swiftly. The core area of the Fengshen Bang is not a place to linger." Just as they prepared to retreat, the entire space suddenly trembled violently. The once floating golden spheres began to collapse, transforming into myriad points of light that coalesced into a towering light curtain. Within the curtain materialized the phantom of the Shang Emperor, DXN, followed by high ministers such as Baigan and Wenzhong, each adorned with a bloodline extending from their foreheads, connecting to the depths of the light curtain. "This is the embodiment of the Shang nation's fortune," exclaimed the South Sea Dragon King, his dragon scales bristling as he pointed at the dimming Xian bird totem within the curtain. "Someone is siphoning the luck of the human race to nourish the Fengshen Bang." Shen Gongbao's pupils constricted as he realized that the ends of those bloodlines were entwined with a fragment of a broken bronze cauldron, one of the 9 cauldrons that suppressed the fortune of the Shang nation. The patterns of the mountains, rivers, and state on the cauldron were being eroded by crimson, and with each inch consumed, the phantom of DXIN within the light curtain aged further. Suddenly recalling the cinematic works he had seen in both past and future lives, Shen Gongbao seemed to grasp the grand scheme laid out by the Chan sect. Had the plundering of earthly fortune already commenced? The West Sea Dragon King suddenly grunted, as strange black spots emerged upon his dragon claw. "This loss of fortune is corroding our very essence." Shen Gongbao abruptly tore open his garment, revealing the fierce totem of the GS sect emblazoned upon his chest. The patterns of the 12 ancestral shaman on the totem suddenly illuminated, forcefully drawing the encroaching blood-red fortune into its essence. Just as the crowd was taken aback by the truth hidden deep within the god-sealing list, the entire luminous space began to tremble violently. Countless golden runes shattered, transforming into a cascade of radiant light. Spiderweb-like fissures emerged at the edges of the light screen, rapidly spreading towards the center. "Quick move," Shen Gongbao shouted sharply, as 12 white bone banners flew from his sleeve, sheltering the group within. "The light screen is about to collapse." The 3 Dragon Kings immediately transformed into their dragon forms. The West Sea Dragon King clutched Li Jing in his mouth, the South Sea Dragon King lifted Lady Yin, and the North Sea Dragon King raised Shen Gongbao with his tail. For streaks of light surged towards the cracks in the light screen. With a cold smirk, Shen Gongbao hurled forth a boundary-breaking nail tainted with dragon blood. "Everyone rush out." The boundary-breaking nail struck the fissure, instantly tearing open a vast gap. Seizing the opportunity, the group dashed through the light screen, the deafening sound of collapse echoing behind them. Boom! The scene before them abruptly changed, and they reappeared in the Xianbing prison of the Yushu Palace. However, the Xianbing prison was now unrecognizable. Ice pillars had crumbled, chains lay shattered, and the entire space was filled with chaotic torrents of spiritual energy. Not good. The West Sea Dragon King's whiskers trembled violently. The backlash of the god-sealing list has commenced. Suspended in midair, the gilded jade tablet shook violently, with eerie black mist oozing from its cracks. The black mist writhed like a living entity, surging towards the group. A glint of ruthlessness flashed in Shen Gongbao's eyes as he bit his tongue and spat out a mouthful of essence blood. "Samadhi true fire. Incinerate the heavens and extinguish the earth." Azure and white flames surged skyward, colliding with the black mist. However, this time the black mist was capable of devouring the Samadhi true fire, the flames dimming at a visible pace. The three dragon kings commanded the sea tribes to withdraw from the Yushu palace, urgently insisting, "Hurry." Chapter 16. Go to the East Sea to rescue the Dragon King. Do not allow Nezha to commit a grave error. Upon hearing this, the West Sea Dragon King immediately let out a resounding roar, echoing through the Yushu palace's barrier and resonating throughout the East Sea. In an instant, countless responses reverberated from the depths of the East Sea. The army of sea tribes previously besieging the Yushu palace retreated like a receding tide, vanishing into the deep sea. What shall we do next, Shen Gongbao? The South Sea Dragon King inquired anxiously. A flicker of resolve crossed Shen Gongbao's eyes. You take Li Jing and his wife and leave first. I will hold the rear. The three Dragon Kings exchanged glances. The West Sea Dragon King solemnly replied, No, we must leave together. Shen Gongbao sneered. This is an order. Quickly take them to find Nezha. Do not let that boy make a grave mistake. He fiercely tore down the totem from his chest, the 12 ancestral shaman patterns transforming into 12 divine banners. Hurry. If we do not leave now, it will be too late. The North Sea Dragon King attempted to voice further objections, but was halted by the South Sea Dragon King. Listen to him. We must go. The three Dragon Kings transformed into streaks of light, hastening with Li Jing and his wife towards the exit of the Yushu Palace. Just as they departed, the God-sealing list completely disintegrated. Countless dark energies transformed into towering waves, surging toward Shen Gongbao. What a splendid arrival. Shen Gongbao let out a hearty laugh as the 12 divine banners of the Dingtian absorbed the dark energies within their folds. However, the sheer magnitude of the dark energies caused the banners to quickly develop cracks. Blood seeped from Shen Gongbao's 7 orifices, yet he continued to laugh maniacally. You old thief. Do you think you can trap me like this? He fiercely bit his tongue, spraying forth a mouthful of essence blood. Devour the heavens. Unleash. The essence blood merged with the divine banners, illuminating them with a blinding crimson light. The spectral forms of the 12 ancestor witches emerged from the banners, beginning to devour the dark energies in reverse. From deep within the Jade Void Palace, the enraged voice of the primordial heavenly sovereign echoed, Shen Gongbao, how dare you steal the essence of chaos? In response, Shen Gongbao's laughter resounded. Ha ha, old man Yuansher, do you think you are the only one who can scheme? I shall gladly accept this essence of chaos. Seizing the moment while the chaos backlash was temporarily suppressed, Shen Gongbao transformed into a streak of black light, bursting forth from the ice prison. Above the Jade Void Palace, the 3 Dragon Kings were embroiled in fierce combat, with the celestial soldiers led by Wenzhong. Observing this, Shen Gongbao unleashed 12 boundary-breaking nails from his sleeve, instantly shattering the formation of the celestial troops. Let us go. The group transformed into streaks of light, racing towards the depths of the East Sea. Within the Jade Void Palace, the primordial heavenly sovereign sat atop the azure clouds, playing with a pulsating chaos lotus seed, a profound smile gracing his lips. Shen Gongbao, I never expected you to discover this. However, the fate list cannot be altered. Within the lotus seed, a faint silhouette of Dixion could be seen, presenting a sinister smile toward the primordial heavenly sovereign. Above the East Sea, towering waves were stained crimson by raging flames. Nezha, standing upon his wind-fire wheels, wielded the blood dragon like heavenly silk, with each thrust of his fire-tipped spear igniting the heavens in flames. The Dragon King of the East Sea used the thunderclouds of the 9 skies as a shield, summoning tidal waves, yet he was still forced to retreat step by step. Old mud eel, surrender my parents. Nezha's eyes blazed red, as the Qianquan circle transformed into a golden meteor, crashing toward the Dragon Palace's barrier. Boom. The barrier shattered in response, the Dragon King's scales rippling, a mouthful of dragon blood spewing forth. Nezha, you have fallen into the trap of treacherous men. Just as the fire-tipped spear was about to pierce the Dragon King's reverse scale, a dragon's roar pierced through the air. Nezha, halt. The Dragon King of the West Sea descended in human form, followed closely by the Dragon Kings of the South and North Seas, alongside Li Jing and his wife. Riding the waves, Lady Yin urgently called out, Nezha, the Dragon King of the East Sea is innocent. Li Jing raised a shattered fragment of the 9 tripod as evidence. This is irrefutable proof of the Jade Void Palace's theft of the Great Shang's luck. The Dragon Clan has never captured us. Nezha shuddered, the fire-tipped spear halting mere inches from the Dragon King's brow. The acrid scent of scorched dragon scales filled the air as the Dragon King sighed deeply, flicking his claw to toss a crystal orb into the sky. The orb revealed an image, the infinite immortal disguised as a member of the dragon clan attacking Chintang Pass, manipulating Li Jing and his wife with a soul-capturing technique. This Nezha staggered backward, the heavenly silk drooping helplessly. I nearly caused a grave mistake. The Dragon King of the East Sea felt a tremor in his dragon whiskers, as his wound gradually healed under the golden light. Young one, if you truly feel remorse, then accompany us to assault the Jade Void Palace. However, the Dragon King of the West Sea shook his head, cautioning, brother, do not act recklessly. The primordial heavenly master has activated the 10,000 immortal array, and at this moment, the Jade Void Palace has become a celestial net. Upon hearing these words, the others looked up to behold 365 Stargate formations materializing in the heavens, each housing a golden celestial apparition. At the center of the array, a remnant of the deification list was transforming the celestial brilliance into chaotic energy. Suddenly, the ocean waves solidified into a strange ash-gray hue, and the robe of the infinite immortal rustled ominously in the void. Beneath his feet, the Bagua diagram was devouring the overflowing chaotic energy from the 10,000 immortal array. With each morsel consumed, he appeared a year younger, his hair white as a crane, yet his visage youthful. Do you see? The infinite immortal's fingertips entwined with 360 star brilliance chains. Ha ha ha, those who know the secret shall perish. His laughter turned thunderous, his youthful appearance swelling ominously. The Taiji diagram on his robe began to tear apart, revealing skin beneath which myriad serpentine forms writhed. With a cacophony of cracking bones, his hunched figure surged upwards, transforming in an instant into a towering bronze giant, muscles gleaming with a dark red hue akin to bronze tempered by fire. From his pores emanated not spiritual energy, but a sulphurous chaotic malevolence. 3,000 years. His voice reverberated, sending towering columns of water erupting from the sea's surface. At last, I need not feign the demeanor of a celestial being. Nezha suddenly realized that the wind-fire wheels beneath his feet began to melt, as the flames of the merging heaven silk were devoured by the heat radiating from the infinite immortal. Even more terrifying was the apparition of the primordial heavenly master that emerged at the monster's chest, unmistakably the mark of a saint's essence. Ha! The infinite immortal's colossal hand reached skyward, twisting the entirety of the East Sea upwards. Is this your true form? Just then, Shen Gongbao arrived, witnessing this dreadful scene. Heavens! Has this old fellow gone mad? The infinite immortal's body continued to swell, the serpentine patterns beneath his skin transforming into bark-like textures. His limbs extended into countless branches, each entwined with chaotic energy. With a thunderous crash, the infinite immortal fully transformed into a colossal tree, its trunk as thick as a mountain, branches and leaves obscuring the sky, roots burrowing deep into the seabed, turning the entire region into a chaotic mire. At the base of the giant tree connected a primordial yin-yang cauldron, his treasure for refining myriad demons. Now I understand. Shen Gongbao's pupils constricted. Using the 9 tripod as a foundation and chaos as a source, he had forged himself into this chaotic divine tree. The tree's roots spread wildly, draining the sea of water and consuming all living beings in their path. The scales of the East Sea Dragon King began to shed, letting out a pained roar. He seeks to extract the essence of the East Sea. Chapter 17. Shen Gongbao and the Infinite Immortal Master Brother, you must not err again. Tai Junren, standing upon a cloud and wielding a whisk, soared towards the chaotic divine tree. Before his words could fully escape his lips, the chaotic divine tree began to tremble violently. Countless branches twisted like massive serpents, sweeping towards Tai Junren. Brother, do you truly wish to be my adversary? The voice of the infinite immortal elder resonated from the depths of the treetop, laced with a hint of mockery. Tai Junren's expression turned grave. With a flick of his whisk, myriad silver threads transformed into blades, slicing towards the encroaching branches. Boom! The branches collided with the silver threads, producing a thunderous sound that echoed through the air. Tai Junren was jolted back several steps, a trickle of blood escaping the corner of his mouth. Ha! Brother, you are ultimately no match for me. The infinite immortal elder cackled, as the chaotic divine tree trembled once more, countless branches surging like a tidal wave towards Tai Junren. A flicker of determination crossed Tai Junren's eyes as he swiftly formed hand seals. 9 dragons of divine fire, manifest. With a resounding shout, 9 fire dragons erupted from within him, transforming into 9 golden flames that surged towards the chaotic divine tree. Boom! The golden flames collided with the chaotic divine tree, erupting in a dazzling display of light. Yet, the chaotic divine tree merely swayed slightly, devouring the flames whole. Brother, your powers are ineffective against me. The infinite immortal elder sneered. You might as well surrender. Tai Jinren's complexion grew pale, a glimmer of despair flashing in his eyes. At that moment, a shadow suddenly appeared beside him. Shen Gongbao? Tai Jinren gazed in astonishment at the newcomer. Shen Gongbao chuckled coldly. Tai Jinren, you cannot contend with this creature alone. With a mocking laugh, he swiftly formed hand seals, chanting incantations under his breath. Suddenly, azure-white flames engulfed his body. These flames were neither fierce nor blinding, but exuded an enigmatic depth. 3 mystical true fire? The voice of the infinite immortal elder echoed from the chaotic divine tree. Tinged with surprise, how could you wield the supreme divine power of my teachings? Shen Gongbao offered no reply, merely smirking. With a push of his hands, the azure-white flames transformed into a fire dragon, roaring towards the chaotic divine tree. Boom! The fire dragon collided with the chaotic divine tree, unleashing a cataclysmic roar. This time, the chaotic divine tree trembled violently, countless branches igniting in flames, crackling and popping. Impossible! The infinite immortal elder's voice quivered with disbelief. Though the 3 mystical true fire counters wood element powers, my chaotic divine tree has long transcended the 5 elements. How could it be harmed by mere 3 mystical true fire? Shen Gongbao sneered. Do you think this is ordinary 3 mystical true fire? This is the chaotic true fire, born of the chaotic essence, fused with the powers of the 12 ancestors. What? The infinite immortal elder's voice was laced with terror. You have mastered the chaotic essence? How can this be? Shen Gongbao remained silent, continuing to channel the chaotic true fire. The fire dragon rampaged upon the chaos divine tree, leaving a trail of charred branches in its wake. Tai Jinren watched in astonishment, never expecting that Shen Gongbao could wield such a terrifying power. Junior brother, please lend me your strength, pleaded the voice of Wuliang Xianwen, tinged with desperation. After all, we are brothers in the same sect. Tai Jinren hesitated, on the verge of offering assistance, when he heard Shen Gongbao's cold laughter. Tai Jinren, ponder this carefully. Wuliang Xianwen has extracted the essence of the Eastern Sea for the sake of cultivating the chaos divine tree, harming countless beings. If you aid him, you will be opposing all of humanity. Upon hearing this, Tai Jinren suddenly came to his senses. He took a deep breath and addressed Wuliang Xianwen. Brother, you have indeed strayed too far. I cannot assist you in today's matter. With that, he turned and departed, ignoring Wuliang Xianwen's pleas. Wuliang Xianwen let out a piercing scream as the chaos divine tree, unable to withstand the raging chaos true fire, finally ignited. Vile! Shen Gongbao, you have stolen the sacred arts of my sect. His cries echoed across the Eastern Sea, as the branches of the chaos divine tree were consumed by the flames. His massive form thrashed in the air, attempting to escape the encroaching fire, yet the pale blue flames clung to him like a curse, refusing to be extinguished. Shen Gongbao, how dare you treat me this way? I am your senior. Wuliang Xianwen's voice was filled with fury and agony. I am your elder. Shen Gongbao replied with a sneer, his incantations unwavering. Elder, for the sake of cultivating the chaos divine tree, you have extracted the essence of the Eastern Sea and harmed countless lives, rendering yourself unworthy of that title. Wuliang Xianwen, scorched by the flames, cried out in distress, summoning all his celestial energy to resist. A faint golden light enveloped his form, attempting to ward off the chaos true fire. However, the flames seemed sentient, weaving through the gaps in his defenses, continuing to consume his body. The pain is unbearable. Wuliang Xianwen rolled in the air, his massive form shattering countless mountains and stirring up towering waves. Tai Jinren watched from a distance, his heart a tumult of emotions. He felt sorrow for Wuliang Xianwen's plight and shock at Shen Gongbao's ruthless methods. Shen Gongbao, you? Tai Jinren hesitated. Shen Gongbao, without looking back, coldly replied. Tai Jinren, if you cannot bear to witness this, you may leave. Today's events do not concern you. Seizing the opportunity while Wuliang Xianwen was trapped by the chaos true fire, Shen Gongbao transformed into a streak of black light, swiftly flying to the side of the soul state Ao Bing. Ao Bing's dragon spirit floated weakly in the air, his scales dull and lifeless, eyes closed in evident unconsciousness. Shen Gongbao produced a crystal-clear jade vial from his sleeve, filled with a radiant elixir shimmering with myriad colors. He gently tossed it, and the vial landed steadily beside Ao Bing. Disciple, quickly consume this divine elixir. Shen Gongbao whispered, his tone imbued with rare concern. Ao Bing's dragon soul trembled slightly as he slowly opened his eyes. Upon seeing Shen Gongbao, a flicker of surprise crossed his gaze, Master, what brings you here? Shen Gongbao sighed. I have arrived too late. I am sorry you have suffered. Hurry, drink this elixir. It will restore your dragon form. With great effort, Ao Bing lifted his claw, grasped the jade vial, and drank the elixir in one gulp. In an instant, his dragon soul radiated a dazzling brilliance. The once dull scales regained their luster, and the weakened dragon spirit became more solid. Thank you, Master, Ao Bing murmured, his eyes brimming with gratitude. Seeing his dear friend restored, Nezha swiftly flew over. Haha, Shen Gongbao, you truly are remarkable. You little rascal, how many times must I remind you? I am your uncle Master Shen Gongbao. Chapter 18. Shen Gongbao reshapes Nezha's demon body with Samadhi True Fire. Shen Gongbao shot a glare at Nezha, yet there was an unmistakable hint of amusement in his eyes. He reached out and tapped Nezha's head, chiding, You impudent child, daring to jest with your uncle Master. Nezha rubbed his head and replied with a grin, Uncle Master, please don't be angry. If you hadn't arrived in time, both Ao Bing and I would have faced dire consequences. Shen Gongbao huffed, It's good that you understand. If you act recklessly again, I shall not intervene. At this moment, Ao Bing had reverted to his human form and approached Shen Gongbao, bowing deeply. Master, I am deeply grateful for your life-saving grace. Shen Gongbao waved his hand dismissively, his tone laced with reprimand. You foolish child, how can you be so reckless? You must not act so impulsively again. Ao Bing lowered his head, feeling a twinge of shame. Disciple acknowledges his mistake. It was merely that the infinite immortal elder was extracting the essence of the East Sea, harming countless beings, and I, Shen Gongbao sighed, I understand your feelings. Yet, you must remember, as a practitioner, the greater picture must take precedence. Had I not arrived in time today, you might have, Ao Bing interjected. I understand my error and shall heed your teachings moving forward. Shen Gongbao nodded and turned his gaze toward Nezha, who, though still cheerful, seemed to harbor hidden cracks in his body from the battle with the Dragon King of the East Sea, signs of impending collapse. Nezha, come here, Shen Gongbao beckoned, his tone turning serious. Nezha blinked and hopped over. Uncle Master, what is it? Shen Gongbao placed his hand on Nezha's shoulder, a surge of pure magical energy flowing into him. After a moment, he frowned slightly. Why do you neglect your body so? At this rate, your lotus treasure body will surely shatter. Nezha scratched his head nonchalantly. It's nothing, Uncle Master. I'm perfectly fine. Shen Gongbao snorted. Perfectly fine? The spiritual energy within you has become chaotic, and your lotus body has developed cracks. If this issue remains unaddressed, your life may be in jeopardy. It was at this moment that Nezha realized the gravity of the situation and, feeling a sense of urgency, inquired, What shall we do? After a brief contemplation, Shen Gongbao's eyes glimmered with determination. Very well, I shall use the Samadhi True Fire to reconstruct your body. Samadhi True Fire? Both Nezha and Ao Bing exclaimed in unison. Shen Gongbao nodded affirmatively. Indeed, the Samadhi True Fire is the purest flame in the universe, capable of incinerating all impurities and reshaping the physical form. Although the process may be somewhat excruciating, it is, at present, the most effective solution. Nezha gritted his teeth and resolutely declared, Master, I fear not the pain. Please proceed. A flicker of approval crossed Shen Gongbao's gaze. Excellent, you truly are my disciple. Ao Bing, step back, I must commence. Ao Bing quickly retreated, watching anxiously as Shen Gongbao and Nezha prepared for the ordeal. Taking a deep breath, Shen Gongbao swiftly formed hand seals. Suddenly, azure and white flames erupted around him, neither searing nor blinding, yet exuding an air of profound mystery. Nezha, are you prepared? Shen Gongbao asked solemnly. Nezha nodded and closed his eyes. Master, I am ready. Without further hesitation, Shen Gongbao pushed forward, and the azure and white flames enveloped Nezha instantly. Ah! Nezha cried out in agony, but he quickly gritted his teeth, stifling any further sounds. Shen Gongbao devoted all his concentration to controlling the Samadhi True Fire, meticulously incinerating the impurities within Nezha's body. Gradually, Nezha's lotus body began to dissolve in the flames, transforming into a pool of crystalline liquid. Ao Bing watched in horror, yet dared not interrupt. As time ticked away, Nezha's cries diminished, replaced by a refreshing aura. At last, Shen Gongbao withdrew the Samadhi True Fire. Nezha's original lotus body had vanished, replaced by a translucent form radiating a gentle glow. All done, Shen Gongbao sighed in relief, sweat beading on his forehead. Nezha slowly opened his eyes, reveling in his new body, and exclaimed, Master, I feel magnificent. This body is even stronger than before. Meanwhile, not far away, The Wuyang Xianwing finally extinguished the Samadhi true fire on the chaos divine tree. His immense form appeared disheveled, the once verdant leaves now charred, and the trunk emitting tendrils of black smoke. Transformed into human form, Wuyang Xianwing was covered in soot, tattered garments clinging to him, his eyes filled with malice. He glared at Shen Gongbao and the others, gritting his teeth as he vowed, "Shen Gongbao, you dare treat me thus? The grievances of today, I shall repay 100-fold." Shen Gongbao scoffed, meeting Wuyang Xianwing's gaze without fear. "Infinite Elder, you have extracted the essence of the East Sea, wreaking havoc upon innocent lives. Your transgressions are deserving of retribution. Today's events serve merely as a minor lesson for you." Upon hearing these words, a glimmer of malice flickered in Infinite Elder's eyes. "Shen Gongbao, do not revel in your triumph. Do you truly believe that with your meager skills, you can challenge my teachings?" He retorted, "I shall ensure that you pay dearly for today's humiliation." Noticing this, Nezha stepped forward, pointing an accusatory finger at Infinite Elder. "You shameless old man, how dare you speak? Today, I shall settle the score with you." Nezha exchanged a knowing glance with Ao Bing, and in perfect synchrony, they charged toward Infinite Elder. With a roar, Ao Bing transformed into a colossal azure dragon, its scales shimmering brilliantly under the sunlight. The dragon's roar echoed across the heavens, causing the waves to surge as if the entire East Sea trembled in response to his might. Nezha, riding the wind and fire wheels, leapt gracefully onto Ao Bing's back. Brandishing his fiery spear, the celestial silk billowing behind him, his eyes ablaze with the spirit of a warrior, akin to a divine battle god descending from the heavens. "Old man, prepare to witness our power," Nezha bellowed, his voice resonating like thunder, causing Infinite Elder's eardrums to ache. With a flick of his tail, Ao Bing lunged forward like a bolt of blue lightning, unleashing a torrent of icy water from his jaws, imbued with a chilling aura that surged towards Infinite Elder. The Elder's expression shifted as he hastily waved his sleeve to defend himself. Yet, this was no ordinary water. It was the true water of profound ice. Conjured through the Dragon Clan's secret arts, the frigid air froze the very atmosphere into crystalline shards. "Childish tricks," scoffed Infinite Elder as he clasped his hands together. A radiant golden light enveloping him, erecting a massive golden barrier to thwart the true water. However, before he could complete his incantation, Nezha's fiery spear hurtled through the air. "Behold," Nezha shouted, as the spear, wreathed in blazing flames, aimed directly at Infinite Elder's chest. The Elder swiftly sidestepped, but the flames still grazed his shoulder, incinerating his sleeve to ash. Pain flickered in his eyes, mingled with fury. "You audacious youngsters dare to act so recklessly," he roared, his hands rapidly forming a powerful gesture, amplifying the golden light surrounding him into an enormous barrier that repelled Nezha and Ao Bing's assaults. Seeing this, Nezha chuckled derisively, "You old fool. Do you think this will suffice to stop us? Attack." Chapter 19. Infinite Elder, your demise has arrived. Awaken to the truth. Ding. Congratulations on analyzing the new character Ao Bing. Congratulations on signing in for Ao Bing's spiritual pearl body, transforming it into the chaos poison. Just as Nezha and Ao Bing launched their assault, a system prompt resonated within Shen Gongbao's mind. He and Ao Bing were indeed master and apprentice. Yet during their previous traversal, the system had detected an incomplete form, preventing a successful sign-in until now. Now, the combat prowess of Ao Bing has reached its zenith. Boom. Infinite Immortal, return the lives of my fellow villagers from Chintang Pass. Nezha and Ao Bing, positioned on either side, unleashed an unrelenting assault, driving the Infinite Immortal back at every turn. Nezha, riding the wind and fire wheels, moved with an agility akin to lightning, wielding his fiery spear which ignited a conflagration with every thrust directed at the vital points of the Infinite Immortal. Ao Bing transformed into a colossal dragon, his claws stirring up monstrous waves. The Xianbing true water morphed into countless ice blades, raining down upon the Infinite Immortal. Despite his profound cultivation, he found it challenging to withstand the seamless synergy of the two. His golden barrier began to fracture under the dual onslaught of the fiery spear and the Xianbing true water, on the verge of collapse. Cursed. The Infinite Immortal gritted his teeth, a flash of malevolence crossing his eyes. With a fierce push of his hands, the golden barrier erupted, and a powerful shockwave sent Nezha and Ao Bing staggering back several paces. Yet, before he could catch his breath, the cold voice of Shen Gongbao pierced through the air. "Infinite Immortal, do you believe you can escape this fate?" Whoosh. Shen Gongbao formed a seal with his hands, igniting azure-white Samadhi true fire around him. The flames, neither scorching nor blinding, emanated an enigmatic aura. With a thrust of his hands, the Samadhi true fire transformed into a fire dragon, charging directly at the infinite immortal. Shen Gongbao. The infinite immortal's pupils constricted as he hurriedly waved his sleeve to defend himself. However, the Samadhi true fire, being the purest flame in existence, was not so easily repelled. The flames pierced through his defenses, striking his chest directly. The infinite immortal let out a wretched scream, staggering backward. Looking down, he was horrified to find his chest beginning to rot, wisps of black smoke emanating from the wound. This is the chaos poison. The infinite immortal's face turned ashen, fear evident in his eyes. Shen Gongbao chuckled coldly. Indeed, it is the chaos poison. Infinite immortal, today marks your demise. Seeing this, Nezha and Ao Bing surged forward once more. Nezha's fiery spear blazed with intense flames, while Ao Bing's dragon claws gleamed with a chilling light. The two advancing to corner the infinite immortal. Shen Gongbao, cease the idle chatter and slay him. Little Nezha, I have told you repeatedly, I am your master, Shen Gongbao. This audacious Nezha has even rendered Shen Gongbao speechless with fury. Just as the infinite immortal found himself in dire straits, a resonant proclamation echoed from the heavens. Infinite celestial. A streak of azure light tore through the sky as Tai Zhenren descended on clouds, holding a whisk, appearing ethereal. His countenance bore an expression of compassion as his gaze swept over Shen Gongbao, Nezha, and Ao Bing, finally resting upon the beleaguered infinite immortal. Gentlemen, please delay your actions. With a wave of his whisk, a soft power dissipated the onslaught of Nezha and Ao Bing into nothingness. Shen Gongbao furrowed his brow slightly and coldly remarked, Tai Zhenren, what is your intention? Tai Zhenren let out a sigh and said, Shen Gongbao, although the infinite immortal has erred, he is nonetheless a disciple of my Chan teaching. If punishment is to be meted out, it should be the prerogative of our master, Yuanshi Tianzuan. How can you take matters into your own hands? Upon hearing this, Nezha immediately expressed his dissatisfaction, exclaiming, Master, this old wretch has harmed my fellow villagers in Chintang Pass. His crimes are heinous and cannot be forgiven lightly. Ao Bing also transformed into human form, gravely stating, Tai Shirbua, the infinite immortal has extracted the essence of the East Sea, inflicting suffering upon countless souls. His transgressions are inexcusable. Tai Zhenren shook his head and replied, what you say is true, but the rules must not be disregarded. The judgment of the infinite immortal's sins lies with our master. If I allow you to resolve this matter on your own, would that not disrupt the order? Shen Gongbao sneered, rules? Tai Zhenren, the rules you speak of are merely the unilateral decree of Yuanshi Tianzuan. As for today's affair, I, Shen Gongbao, shall decide for myself. You need not concern yourself. Tai Zhenren's expression darkened as he warned, Shen Gongbao, do not remain obstinate. Should you persist in your recklessness, do not blame me for disregarding our brotherly ties. A flicker of derision crossed Shen Gongbao's eyes as he retorted, brotherly ties? Tai Zhenren, when have you ever regarded me as a peer? Today's matter is under my control. With that, he formed a seal with his hands, summoning the Samadhi true fire once more, directing it towards the infinite immortal. Seeing this, Tai Zhenren hastily waved his whisk, conjuring a blue light to intercept the flames. He spoke in a deep voice, Shen Gongbao, do you truly wish to engage in battle with me? Shen Gongbao remained silent, a cold smile on his lips. His aura suddenly surging, clearly preparing to clash with Tai Zhenren. Just as tensions escalated between Tai Zhenren and Shen Gongbao, Nezha and Ao Bing exchanged bewildered glances. Momentarily at a loss, Nezha scratched his head and whispered to Ao Bing, Ao Bing, what shall we do? Our master is fighting with Shen Gongbao. Whom should we assist? Ao Bing furrowed his brow and replied helplessly, I am uncertain as well. Logically, we should support our master, but Tai Shirbua is, after all, our elder. It would be inappropriate for us to intervene. Nezha pouted, so we are to simply stand by and watch. Ao Bing sighed, let us observe the situation for now. If it becomes absolutely necessary, we will lend our assistance to our master. At that moment of indecision, Shen Gongbao had already engaged Tai Zhenren. He formed seals with his hands, transforming the Samadhi true fire into a fiery dragon that surged towards Tai Zhenren. Tai Zhenren waved his whisk, summoning a blue light to block the dragon. Shen Gongbao, do you truly wish to remain obstinate? Tai Zhenren inquired solemnly. Shen Gongbao sneered, Tai Zhenren, spare me your feigned concern. Today's affair is under my jurisdiction. With that, he waved his hands, sending 12 boundary-breaking nails flying directly at Tai Zhenren's vital points. Seeing this, Tai Zhenren quickly wielded his whisk, knocking down the boundary-breaking nails one by one. Shen Gongbao, do not force my hand. Tai Jinren's expression darkened, and his aura surged dramatically. Shen Gongbao, undaunted, sneered. Tai Jinren, reveal your true abilities. The two engaged in a fierce duel, neither gaining the upper hand. Nezha and Ao Bing, witnessing the intense confrontation, were filled with trepidation, uncertain of how to proceed. At that moment, Shen Gongbao suddenly shouted, Nezha, Ao Bing, why do you hesitate? Come forth and assist. We must capture the nefarious Wuliang Xianwen. We cannot allow Tai Jinren's interference to let this villain escape. Resolute. Nezha and Ao Bing exchanged determined glances. Nezha, stepping onto his wind and fire wheels, wielded his fiery spear and charged towards Wuliang Xianwen. Chapter 20. The compassionate heart of Yuanshi Tianzuan. The sage takes action? You old curmudgeon, feel the wrath of my spear. Nezha bellowed, as the fiery spear, ablaze with intense flames, lunged towards Wuliang Xianwen's chest. Ao Bing transformed into a colossal dragon, his claws stirring up tumultuous waves, while countless ice blades, birthed from the Xianbing true water, descended upon Wuliang Xianwen. Already grievously injured, Wuliang Xianwen found himself unable to withstand the onslaught from both sides. He barely managed to wave his sleeve in defense, yet the ferocity of the fiery spear and the Xianbing true water overwhelmed his defenses in an instant. Wuliang Xianwen cried out in agony, staggering backward. Lowering his gaze, he saw his chest and arms marred with wounds, blood streaming forth. How dare you treat me thus? Wuliang Xianwen seethed, his eyes brimming with malice. Nezha retorted with a cold laugh. Old curmudgeon, you have wronged my fellow villagers in Qintang Pass. Your sins are egregious. And today marks your end. Ao Bing solemnly declared. Wuliang Xianwen, your exploitation of the East Sea's essence, harming the innocent, is unforgivable. The two renewed their assault. Their fiery spear and dragon claws, imbued with lethal intent, targeting the vital points of Wuliang Xianwen. Simultaneously, the confrontation between Shen Gongbao and Tai Jinren escalated to a fever pitch. Is this all you possess, Tai Jinren? Shen Gongbao scoffed, forming intricate hand seals as the Sanmei true fire morphed into a colossal fire dragon, charging towards Tai Jinren. With a grave expression, Tai Jinren wielded his whisk, conjuring a massive barrier of azure light to deflect the fire dragon. He intoned solemnly, Shen Gongbao, do not persist in your folly. Should this continue, do not blame me for being merciless. Shen Gongbao retorted with derision, merciless? Tai Jinren, show me what you are truly capable of. A flicker of anger flashed in Tai Jinren's eyes as he formed hand seals, his aura surging with azure radiance. Behind him, a formidable Dharma figure emerged, wielding a whisk, exuding an awe-inspiring presence. Today, Shen Gongbao, you shall witness my true prowess. Tai Jinren proclaimed earnestly. Unfazed, Shen Gongbao performed his own hand seals, igniting the azure and white Sanmei true fire around him. A colossal Dharma figure manifested behind him as well, brandishing a boundary-breaking nail, radiating an overwhelming aura. The two Dharma figures stood opposed, their presence shaking the very heavens. The collision of the Samadhi true fire and the azure glow erupted in a dazzling brilliance, causing tumultuous waves to ripple across the East Sea. At the height of their fierce battle, Nezha and Ao Bing had driven the Infinite Immortal into a desperate situation. Surrender your life. The Infinite Immortal, exhausted and at his wit's end, could no longer withstand the deadly blows from the two. A flicker of despair crossed his eyes as he murmured, is this truly my day of demise? In that critical moment, a commanding voice echoed from the heavens. Halt. A beam of golden light descended, and the figure of the primordial heavenly venerable appeared before all. His gaze, sharp as lightning, swept across the scene before finally resting upon the Infinite Immortal. What is happening? Nezha exclaimed, momentarily taken aback, yet he did not cease his assault with the fiery spear. Bang! The fiery spear clashed against the golden barrier, producing a thunderous sound. However, the barrier remained unyielding, not even a single crack appearing. Nezha and Ao Bing were repelled by the backlash, crashing heavily to the ground. Struggling to rise, their eyes were filled with astonishment. What kind of power is this? Nezha gazed incredulously at the golden barrier. Ao Bing, equally aghast, remarked, not even our full force strike could budge it. What is the origin of this golden light? As Nezha and Ao Bing marveled at the might of the golden barrier, the Infinite Immortal was filled with overwhelming joy. He struggled to rise from the ground and bowed deeply towards the Jade Void Palace, exclaiming, Thank you, Master, for your salvation. I am eternally grateful. His voice was suffused with the elation and gratitude of one who has narrowly escaped calamity, as if he could already glimpse the hope of life. Upon witnessing this, Nezha's fury ignited. Old scoundrel, do you think this will allow you to escape your fate? Even with the primordial heavenly venerable protecting you today, I shall take your life. With that, he once again raised his fiery spear and charged toward the infinite immortal. However, the golden barrier remained impervious, deflecting his onslaught effortlessly. Ao being transformed into a colossal dragon, his claws sweeping to conjure towering waves in an attempt to breach the golden barrier. Yet, no matter how he attacked, the barrier stood firm. Infuriating, Nezha and Ao being gritted their teeth in frustration, feeling utterly helpless. The primordial heavenly venerable had intervened. They had not anticipated such a personal involvement from a sage. Observing this scene, Shen Gongbao was struck with astonishment and came to a halt. Tai Zhenren also ceased his actions to pay respect. Clearly, this was the intervention of the primordial heavenly venerable. As everyone remained in shock at the sudden involvement of the primordial heavenly venerable, the figure of the venerable slowly emerged from within the golden barrier. His gaze, sharp as lightning, scanned the assembly before finally landing on Shen Gongbao. Shen Gongbao, do you acknowledge your crimes? The primordial heavenly venerable asked solemnly. Shen Gongbao, neither submissive nor arrogant, clasped his hands and replied, Master, I am unaware of any wrongdoing. The primordial heavenly venerable snorted coldly, you acted against your fellow disciples, disrupting the order of heaven and earth, and still dare to quibble? Shen Gongbao spoke with an air of indifference, Master. The Wuyang Xianwing has extracted the essence of the East Sea, causing great harm to living beings. I merely act as an instrument of heaven's will. Yuan Shi Tianzun furrowed his brow, turning to Tai Zhenren. Tai, is this true? Tai Zhenren promptly bowed and replied, Indeed, Master. However, I believe the matter of Wuyang Xianwing's transgressions should be determined by you, and not handled impulsively. After a moment's contemplation, Yuan Shi Tianzun declared, Shen Gongbao, while your intentions may align with heaven's decree, your actions are overly reckless. Let today's events be noted. Wuyang Xianwing, accompany me back to Yusu Palace to receive your punishment. With a wave of his sleeve, he vanished into the clouds, taking Wuyang Xianwing with him. Shen Gongbao gazed in the direction of their departure, a flicker of coldness in his eyes. Today's occurrences are merely the prelude to the impending calamity of the Fengshan. A more formidable tempest is brewing. Nezha and Ao Bing, witnessing this, grew anxious. Yuan Shi Tianzun, you cannot do this. Nezha exclaimed, this old villain has wrought havoc upon my kin in Chintang Pass. Such heinous crimes cannot be easily forgiven. Ao Bing added solemnly, Yuan Shi Tianzun, Wuyang Xianwing has drained the essence of the East Sea, inflicting grievous harm on the innocent. His sins are unforgivable. Why do you shield him? Yuan Shi Tianzun's voice resonated from the clouds. Though Wuyang Xianwing has erred, he is nonetheless a disciple of my teachings. If punishment is to be meted out, it is my responsibility to decide, not for you to take matters into your own hands. Let today's affair conclude here. Depart swiftly and refrain from further provocation. Nezha and Ao Bing fell silent, their spirits rebellious yet cowed by Yuan Shi Tianzun's authority. Shen Gongbao let out a cold laugh, addressing Nezha and Ao Bing, let us depart. Today's events are but a prelude. There will be a reckoning in due time. Chapter 21, The Rescue of Wuyang Xianwing, who will repay the blood debt of the citizens of Chintang Pass. Master, wait, cried Li Jing, the military commander of Chintang Pass. I demand justice for the massacre of my people. He and his wife surged forward, blocking Yuan Shi Tianzun's path. You cannot simply take Wuyang Xianwing away. Li Jing's eyes were aflame with anguish, his voice trembling. Are the lives of countless citizens from Chintang Pass to be sacrificed in vain? Madame, tears streaming down her face, knelt before him. We implore you, Master, to uphold justice for the citizens of Chintang Pass. Wuyang Xianwing, driven by selfishness, has slaughtered the innocent. His crimes are too grievous to be forgiven. Yuan Shi Tianzun frowned slightly, replying in a solemn tone, Li Jing, Madame, I shall address the transgressions of Wuyang Xianwing myself. Rest assured, I will provide you with an explanation. Upon hearing this, a glimmer of hope flickered in Li Jing's eyes. Does this imply? Yuan Shi Tianzun responded with calm assurance. Though Wuyang Xianwing is a disciple of my teachings, he has committed a grave error, and I shall administer stringent punishment. However, this matter is of great significance and requires careful deliberation. You must return and await developments with patience. Just as the primordial supreme being prepared to depart with the infinite celestial elder, the true man of Tai arrived on his cloud. Master, please hold on. The true man of Tai respectfully saluted and said, the infinite celestial elder has committed grave sins. I implore you to discern this and enforce strict punishment. The primordial supreme being furrowed his brow and replied in a deep voice, Tai, do you intend to obstruct me as well? The true man of Tai hastily clarified. Disciple would not dare. However, the infinite celestial elder has erred so gravely that if he is not severely punished, it may be difficult to quell the public's outrage. The primordial supreme being snorted coldly, I possess my own sense of judgment. You may withdraw. The true man of Tai wished to say more, but was interrupted by a furious shout from Nezha. Primordial supreme being, you cannot take the infinite celestial elder away. Nezha's eyes blazed crimson, his fiery spear aimed directly at the primordial supreme being. He slaughtered the people of my Chintang Pass. His sins are unforgivable. Today, he must pay with blood for his deeds. The primordial supreme being's gaze turned icy. Nezha, are you threatening me? Unfazed, Nezha retorted fiercely, I care not who you are. If you do not surrender the infinite celestial elder today, I, Nezha, shall not relent. Observing this, Li Jing and his wife rushed forward to restrain Nezha. Jar, do not act impudently. Yet Nezha broke free from his parents' grasp, continuing to glare at the primordial supreme being. Father, mother, have you forgotten the horrors of Chintang Pass? Tens of thousands of innocent lives lost, rivers of blood spilled. All of this is due to the infinite celestial elder. If he is not slain today, I, Nezha, shall cease to be human. A flicker of anger flashed in the primordial supreme being's eyes. Nezha, you are being excessively audacious. With that, he waved his sleeve, sending forth a beam of golden light directly at Nezha. Unafraid, Nezha swung his fiery spear, sending forth a flame to meet it. Boom! A resounding explosion occurred as the golden light and flame collided, emitting a blinding radiance. Nezha was thrown backward, crashing heavily to the ground. Nezha! Li Jing and his wife exclaimed in alarm, rushing to assist him. Nezha struggled to rise, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Yet his eyes remained ablaze with fury. Primordial supreme being, even if you kill me, I will not allow you to take the infinite celestial elder. The primordial supreme being scoffed, stubborn and unyielding. He waved his sleeve once more, directing an even more powerful beam of golden light towards Nezha. At that moment, a flash of azure light suddenly appeared, standing before Nezha. Master, please hold. The true man of Tai, holding a whisk and wearing a grave expression, stood protectively in front of Nezha. Tai, do you also intend to betray me? The primordial supreme being thundered. The true man of Tai replied solemnly, disciple would not dare. However, Nezha speaks the truth. The infinite celestial elder's sins are grievous, and without strict punishment, it will be challenging to pacify the masses. The primordial supreme being sneered, Tai, you are too naive. The grand undertaking of the investiture of the gods is a decree of heaven. Sacrifice is inevitable. The true man of Tai, upon hearing this, was struck with shock. Master, how can you utter such words? Enough, no more words are needed. Just fulfill your role as one of the 12 golden immortals, and depart. Buzz. Before the primordial supreme being's words could finish, a sudden eruption of brilliant golden light engulfed the surroundings, and an overwhelming aura of a saint swept forth, instantly enveloping the entire Chintang Pass. Under the oppressive weight of this terrifying presence, everyone found it difficult to breathe, as if an invisible mountain bore down upon them, rendering even the act of standing upright an arduous task. Li Jing and his wife, along with Nezha and the others, were directly forced to their knees, cold sweat beading on their foreheads, unable even to lift their heads. Is this the power of a saint? Nezha clenched his teeth, desperately striving to rise. Yet, no matter how hard he exerted himself, he could not budge that dreadful aura in the slightest. Tai Jinren's expression was grave, beads of sweat trickling down his forehead. Though he possessed profound cultivation, before the primordial supreme being, he felt as insignificant as an ant. Master, do you truly intend to pursue this course? Tai Jinren spoke with great difficulty, his voice tinged with sorrow. The primordial supreme being cast a cold glance at him and replied, Tai, you have greatly disappointed your master. The grand enterprise of deification is a decree of heaven. How can you presume to comment on it? With that, he waved his sleeve, enveloping the infinite immortal elder in a beam of golden light. Depart. With a command from the primordial supreme being, he ascended with the infinite immortal elder, vanishing into the horizon in the blink of an eye. As the primordial supreme being departed, that terrifying aura dissipated, and the crowd finally felt a sense of relief, collapsing onto the ground and gasping for air. How infuriating! Nezha struck the ground with his fist, his eyes filled with rage and resentment. Li Jing and his wife wore somber expressions, their gazes flickering with complex emotions. Tai Zhenren sighed deeply and slowly rose to his feet. He has truly changed, he murmured, his eyes filled with disappointment and heartache. Throughout the ordeal, Shen Gongbao stood silently by, a witness to the unfolding drama. As a time traveler, he had witnessed such events numerous times before. History is replete with self-righteous, lofty figures who feign benevolence. Heaven is indifferent, treating all beings as mere fodder. The words and actions of the primordial supreme being just now conveyed a stark message. It is futile. In the eyes of the saints, the outcome of the deification war is already predetermined. Whether human, demon, or even dragon, they are all but insignificant insects. The vibrant lives we observe are merely akin to a golden elixir within their alchemical cauldron. Shen Gongbao, you did not foresee that only Nezha could comprehend the depths of his gaze. Words are of little use. Unless we possess the strength to overcome the saints, we can only resign ourselves to this fate. At that moment, Shen Gongbao felt a profound sense of helplessness. Previously, while attempting to rescue Li Jing and his wife, he had inadvertently stumbled into the deification list with the 3 dragon kings and uncovered its intricacies. Even the current human emperor had been marked for elimination on their blacklist. Thus, today's events, the blood-soaked vendetta of the citizens of Chintang Pass, cannot go unaddressed. No, I must report to the human emperor, urging his majesty to seek justice for the innocent souls lost in Chintang Pass. Suddenly, Li Jing interjected, capturing the attention of all present. Indeed, let us seek the Emperor of Humanity to advocate for us. At this moment, prior to the War of the Gods, the Emperor of Humanity held the power to stand on equal footing with the celestial beings above. The human race was not without its strengths. Chapter 22. Signing in for the Emperor's fortune, Shen Gongbao ascends to the great Luo Golden Immortal Beep. Congratulations, host, for unlocking a special character, Emperor Dxian. Congratulations. You have received the Emperor's fortune, advancing your cultivation to the great Luo Golden Immortal. This was the notification Shen Gongbao received upon encountering Emperor Dxian. The Emperor's fortune? It was astonishing. Just the sight of the Emperor had propelled Shen Gongbao to a significant upgrade. Under Li Jing's arrangements, Shen Gongbao, Nezha, and Tai Zhenren swiftly made their way to Chaoga City. At this moment, the Emperor was listening to Li Jing's report, his expression one of great anger. Be at ease. My dear minister, what brings you here today? Taking a deep breath, Li Jing spoke solemnly. Your Majesty, I have come to seek justice for the thousands of citizens of Chintang Pass. Upon hearing this, Emperor Dxian furrowed his brows. Chintang Pass? What has transpired there? Li Jing hurriedly recounted the details of the events. When the Emperor learned of the Yuanshi Tianzuan shielding the Wuliang Xinwang, allowing the massacre of countless citizens, his countenance darkened. This is intolerable. Emperor Dxian slammed his hand upon the armrest of his dragon throne, his voice filled with fury. As a sage, Yuanshi Tianzuan so recklessly disregards human life. This is utterly unacceptable. Seeing his reaction, Li Jing quickly added, Your Majesty, the actions of Yuanshi Tianzuan are truly infuriating. I implore you to stand for the people of Chintang Pass. Emperor Dxian took a deep breath and said solemnly, Do not worry, my dear minister. I shall certainly act on your behalf. He then turned to Baigan and the others. Noble lords, what are your thoughts on this matter? Baigan stepped forward and, with cupped hands, replied, Your Majesty, Yuanshi Tianzuan's actions are truly disgraceful. However, given our current strength, it may be difficult to contend with him. Just as Baigan finished speaking, Shen Gongbao stepped forward and respectfully stated, Your Majesty, I have a plan that may resolve this crisis. Emperor Dxian turned his gaze to Shen Gongbao, intrigued. Oh, what insights do you possess, Shen Aiqing? Shen Gongbao replied earnestly, Your Majesty, though Yuanshi Tianzuan is a sage, he is not invincible. I believe we can ally ourselves with the leader of the Jie Jiao, Tongtian Jiaozhu, to collectively oppose Yuanshi Tianzuan. This statement caused a stir in the court. Baigan frowned and said, Shen Gongbao, are you aware that the Jie Jiao has always been at odds with Artishang? Shen Gongbao nodded. I am indeed aware. However, times have changed. Yuanshi Tianzuan has become utterly deranged in his pursuit of the grand endeavor of canonization. Should he succeed, the entire primordial realm may descend into catastrophe. While the Jie Jiao may not be our allies, they will not remain indifferent to this crisis. Upon hearing this, a glimmer of insight flashed in Emperor Dxian's eyes. What you say is astute, Shen Aiqing. However, how shall we initiate contact with the Jie Jiao? Shen Gongbao spoke in a deep voice. Your Majesty, I have some connections with thee and wish to visit Jinao Island to meet with the Tongtian cult master and elucidate the situation. Upon hearing this, Emperor Xian's eyes flickered with admiration. Excellent. Indeed, You are a loyal subject, Shen. I entrust this matter entirely to you. Shen Gongbao promptly clasped his hands in gratitude. I shall spare no effort. At that moment, Tai Jinren stepped forward, his voice solemn. Your Majesty. I have a word to say, though I am unsure if it is appropriate. Emperor Xian nodded. Please, Tai Immortal, speak freely. Tai Jinren continued gravely. Your Majesty. The primordial heavenly lord is, after all, my master. Although I do not agree with his actions, I do not wish to be his adversary. I fear I may find it difficult to participate in this endeavor. Emperor Xian's brow furrowed at this. Tai Immortal, do you intend to stand idly by? Tai Jinren shook his head. Your Majesty misinterprets my intentions. I simply do not wish to oppose my master, yet I will not hinder your grand plans. I am willing to remain in Chaoga and assist you with other matters. Upon hearing this, Emperor Xian's expression softened. With such intentions from Tai Immortal, I feel reassured. He then turned to Shen Gongbao. Shen, do you feel confident in this mission? Shen Gongbao replied earnestly. Your Majesty, rest assured. I shall do my utmost to persuade the Tontian cult master. Emperor Xian nodded. Very well. I place this matter in your capable hands. Li. Assist Shen and ensure prompt communication with the. Li Jing quickly clasped his hands. I shall comply. Emperor Xian waved his hand. Gentlemen, if there are no further matters, you may withdraw. The assembly bowed and exited hastily. Once outside the hall, Shen Gongbao exhaled deeply. At last, I have convinced the emperor. Li Jing nodded in agreement. Indeed. However, we must act swiftly, or we may be too late. Nezha's eyes flashed with curiosity. Shen Gongbao, what do you mean by that? Shen Gongbao replied gravely. Since the primordial heavenly lord dares to so brazenly shield the infinite immortal, the calamity of the function appears imminent. We must act promptly, lest we miss our chance. The other's expressions turned serious at this revelation. In truth, Shen Gongbao's concerns were not unfounded. At this moment, turmoil brewed within the ranks of the Chan sect. The infinite immortal, regarded by both humans and demons as a butcher, knelt before the primordial heavenly lord. Master, I have failed in my duties, and I have brought shame upon you. Enough, I am already aware of your actions, and you have done well. This conclusion was utterly astonishing. The primordial heavenly lord privately endorsed all that the infinite immortal had accomplished. After all, over the past century, had it not been for the infinite immortal providing elixirs to all disciples, the Chan sect's combat prowess would not only have fallen short of them, but would have paled in comparison to certain formidable demons. Moreover, the years of demon hunting endeavors had successfully stunted the growth of the demon race, even placing the dragon clan beneath their feet. However, rest assured, Tai and Nezha, Tai Jinren is your junior brother, and this should not pose a problem. My concern lies with the difficulty of controlling the current human sovereign, Emperor Xian. At this moment, he likely never anticipated that those lofty beings would have their sights set on the human race, who were supposed to seek justice. Is it the intention of our master to replace him with a more obedient human sovereign? Remove the title of human sovereign. We need someone compliant. Please seek out suitable candidates. We shall adhere to the master's decree. Once the 12 golden immortals had respectfully paid their respects and exited, a flash of golden light appeared. The completed function list slowly manifested in the hands of Yuan Shitianzun. He pinched his white beard and gently opened a corner of this divine scroll, revealing what seemed to be a ranking list, a blacklist, wherein fortunes were continuously draining away. At the forefront stood Tontian Jiaozhu, followed by human sovereign Emperor Xian, and then Zhao Gongming. In truth, the function list serves merely as a formality. In the impending function war, Yuan Shitianzun will disregard the face of the saints and personally intervene to eliminate the outstanding disciples of the second and third generations of the Jie sect. Human sovereign Emperor Xian, your fortune has come to an end. Blame only your rebellious nature and obstinacy. As Yuan Shitianzun murmured to himself from his exalted position, a ray of radiant light flashed, reflecting a figure of unparalleled beauty within the great hall. Beneath her captivating visage, she appeared to possess a serpent's tail. Upon witnessing this scene, Yuan Shitianzun hastily secured the function list and rose to greet her. I have the honor to meet you, Lady Nuwa. You are indeed here regarding the matter of the function list. Chapter 23. Learning of Wuliang Xianwing's capture of demons and alchemy. Tontian Jiaozhu's fury disciple Shen Gongbao requests an audience with Tontian Jiaozhu. As the stronghold of the Jie sect, Golden Ao Island is heavily guarded. However, Shen Gongbao, leveraging his connections with the Jie sect, swiftly gained an audience with Tontian Jiaozhu. Shen Gongbao, what brings you to seek me? Tontian Jiaozhu sat majestically upon his mat, his gaze piercing like lightning, fixed upon Shen Gongbao. Although Tontian Jiaozhu had not made an appearance previously, he remained well informed about external affairs, particularly regarding the massacre at Chintang Pass, which had incited the wrath of the human sovereign. Nevertheless, as a deity, he found it inconvenient to intervene in mortal matters. Yet, as a time traveler, Shen Gongbao was acutely aware of this. Thus, he came prepared today. Upon meeting Tontian Jiaozhu, Shen Gongbao revealed his true form, kneeling and weeping profusely. Please, master, stand up for my demon kin. That Wuliang Xianwing from the Chan sect is exceedingly despicable, using my demon race for alchemical practices. Tontian Jiaozhu, who espoused the principle of having teachings without discrimination, had founded the Jie sect to harness the fortunes of the world. Moreover, his close aides were all great demons, establishing a strong rapport with the demon race. Upon hearing Shen Gongbao's words, Tontian Jiaozhu's expression shifted, and the disciples present began to stir restlessly. Shen Gongbao, do you comprehend the gravity of your words? I report to you, master, that the infinite immortal, under the pretense of enlightening the myriad demons, is, in fact, refining them into elixirs, beseeching your intervention to save us all. At this moment, Shen Gongbao, overwhelmed with emotion, released footage from his previous rescue attempt. This revelation sent shockwaves throughout Golden Ao Island. The Celestial Master, with a gaze as piercing as lightning, scrutinized the images presented by Shen Gongbao. In the footage, the infinite immortal wielded an alchemical furnace, amidst which countless demon tribesmen writhed in agony, ultimately transforming into streams of blood, coalescing into demon elixirs. The wails of those demons seemed to transcend the screen, striking the very souls of everyone present. How outrageous! The Celestial Master struck the mat with force, his fury igniting like a wildfire. Yuanshi Tianzuan, how could you allow your disciples to perpetrate such atrocities against my demon kin? The disciples of the on Golden Ao Island were equally incensed, collectively shouting, Master, we cannot remain idle. Yuanshi Tianzuan is far too tyrannical. He seeks to sever the roots of our. Please, Master, issue the command, and we shall ascend upon Yushu Palace to seek justice for the demon race. The Celestial Master inhaled deeply, suppressing his rage, and spoke in a grave tone. Shen Gongbao, do you possess irrefutable evidence of this matter? Shen Gongbao nodded earnestly. Master, I swear by your insight, I have witnessed it with mine own eyes. There is no fabrication here. Moreover, the Emperor of Humanity, Xian, is already aware of this situation and is willing to ally with our to jointly confront Yuanshi Tianzuan. Upon hearing this, a glimmer of intrigue flickered in the Celestial Master's eyes. Oh? The Emperor is also willing to act. Shen Gongbao affirmed. Indeed. Yuanshi Tianzuan not only inflicts harm upon the demon race, but also condones the infinite immortal massacre of countless innocent citizens at Chintang Pass. The Emperor, incensed, has resolved to join forces with you, Master, to collectively combat Yuanshi Tianzuan. The Celestial Master pondered for a moment before slowly declaring, Very well. If that is the case, I shall ally with the Emperor to confront Yuanshi Tianzuan. Having spoken, he rose, his gaze sweeping across the assembly with fierce intensity. Disciples of, heed my command. Here. The crowd responded in unison. The Celestial Master proclaimed, Yuanshi Tianzuan has ruthlessly harmed the demon race and slaughtered the innocent, committing heinous crimes. Today, our and the Emperor shall unite to confront Yuanshi Tianzuan, seeking justice for all living beings. We shall obey the Master's decree. The assembly echoed in a thunderous chorus, their voices resounding through the heavens. The Celestial Master nodded approvingly and turned to Shen Gongbao. Shen Gongbao, you have rendered a great service. I shall reward you handsomely. Are you willing to join our and serve under my command? Upon hearing this, Shen Gongbao promptly knelt, bowing deeply. I am willing. Thank you, Master, for your generosity. The Celestial Master nodded in satisfaction. Excellent. From this day forth, you shall be a disciple of, ranking among the Golden Immortals. Shen Gongbao was overjoyed, bowing repeatedly. Thank you, Master. The Celestial Master waved his hand. Rise. Shen Gongbao, you are to proceed immediately to Chaoga to discuss our alliance with the Emperor. I shall follow shortly. Shen Gongbao responded swiftly. I shall obey. With that, he turned and departed, transforming into a streak of light, racing towards Chaoga City. The Celestial Master watched as Shen Gongbao departed, a glimmer of brilliance flickering in his eyes. Yuanshi Tianzuan, you have gone too far. Today, you shall learn that Mai is not to be trifled with. With that, he turned to his disciples, commanding, all of you, follow me to Chaoga to rendezvous with the Emperor. We shall obey the Master's decree. The disciples responded in unison. The Celestial Master nodded, sweeping his sleeve. transforming into a streak of azure light that soared into the heavens. The disciples have followed closely behind, a grand procession flying towards the city of Chaoga. Meanwhile, within Chaoga, Emperor Xian was in conference with Li Jing, Nezha, and others, deliberating strategies when a powerful aura approached. Is this the Celestial Master? Emperor Xian furrowed his brow and rose. Your Majesty, I apologize for my tardiness, the Celestial Master said, bowing respectfully. Emperor Xian hurried to greet him. Your presence is an honor, and I regret not welcoming you sooner. Please forgive my oversight. The Celestial Master waved a hand dismissively. No need for such formalities. I have come to discuss a partnership with you against Yuan Shi Tianzun. Upon hearing this, a flicker of joy crossed Emperor Xian's face. Your willingness to assist is immensely appreciated. The Celestial Master spoke solemnly. Yuan Shi Tianzun has inflicted great harm upon the demon clan and slaughtered the common people. His crimes are unforgivable. As the master of, it is my duty to seek justice for all. Emperor Xian nodded in agreement. You speak truly. I have assembled a mighty army, awaiting only your command to march upon the Jade Void Palace. A spark of determination ignited in the Celestial Master's eyes. Excellent. If that is the case, let us set forth immediately and reclaim justice for the people. Hearing this, Emperor Xian's spirit soared. Very well. I shall issue the command for the entire army to advance. He then turned to Li Jing. Li Aiqing, convey my orders. Assemble the troops and depart at once. Li Jing promptly complied. I shall obey. Shortly thereafter, outside Chaoga, the army had gathered in full force. Standing upon a high platform, Emperor Xian's gaze was sharp as he surveyed the troops. Warriors, Yuan Shi Tianzun has wrought destruction upon the demon clan and ruthlessly slaughtered the innocent. His sins are grievous. Today, I join forces with the Celestial Master to vanquish Yuan Shi Tianzun and restore justice for the people. Kill, kill, kill. The soldiers roared in unison, their voices echoing through the skies. At that moment, the Dragon Clan of the East Sea arrived, eager to accompany the Celestial Master to the Jade Void Palace. Just as the army prepared to march, the Dragon King of the East Sea appeared with his elite forces. Meanwhile, the spirited Nezha was reunited with his friend Ao Bing, and they embraced with fervor. Nezha, this time we must seek justice. Indeed, Ao Bing. For the souls lost at Shintang Pass, and for the sea folk, we shall fight. Nezha, filled with righteous indignation, recalled the oppression suffered under Yuan Shi Tianzun's reign. With the Celestial Master and the Emperor supporting them, they were determined to ensure that the boundless immortal elder would pay for his transgressions. Kill. Chapter 24. The three armies advance towards the Jade Void Palace, with Shen Gongbao as the vanguard as the narrative unfolds. Shen Gongbao, being the most acquainted with the Jade Void Palace, assumes the role of the vanguard, tasked with leading the formidable forces. Consequently, he emerges as the principal beneficiary of this endeavor. Throughout the journey, he consistently registers with the esteemed disciples of the, acquiring numerous magical artifacts and even the legendary extermination array. Astonishingly, unbeknownst to him, Shen Gongbao ascends to the pinnacle of the great Luo Golden Immortal Realm, a level of cultivation not easily attained, even among the 12 Golden Immortals. The leaders of the display remarkable camaraderie. Dear Shen, just charge ahead. We shall assist you in breaching their ranks, speaks the revered Turtle Spirit Mother, flanked by Zhao Gongming and the three Heavens Matrons. Shen, the Master requests the use of your extermination sword. Make sure to wield it with great care. Unlike the duplicitous teachings of the adheres to their promises and is genuine in their intentions. The Master of the embodies authenticity, ensuring that Shen Gongbao is not merely a pawn in their scheme. On the contrary, he even entrusts him with the extermination sword. With a resounding roar, the three armies march forth, a formidable tide advancing towards the Jade Void Palace. As the vanguard, Shen Gongbao leads the charge, his presence commanding and resolute, followed closely by the celestial beings of their momentum unyielding. At the forefront of the Jade Void Palace, the 12 golden immortals of the stand prepared for battle. Guang Qingzi wields the banner of heaven, Qi Jingzi conjures the yin-yang mirror, and Tai Yizhenren brandishes the nine-dragon divine fire cover, their spirits fierce and resolute. Yet, they find themselves confronted by the overwhelming might of Shen Gongbao, an entity at the zenith of the great Luo Golden Immortal Realm. Guang Qingzi, can you withstand this? Shen Gongbao scoffs, brandishing the extermination sword, unleashing a sword aura that stretches across 30,000 miles, aimed directly at the 12 golden immortals. Guang Qingzi's countenance pales as he swiftly raises the banner of heaven to defend himself. However, the power of the extermination sword exceeds his expectations. The banner is effortlessly sent flying, and Guang Qingzi is thrown back, spitting blood. Impossible. Qi Jingzi exclaims in shock, hastily invoking the yin-yang mirror. Yet Shen Gongbao, already anticipating this move, swings the sea-settling pearl, immobilizing the yin-yang mirror in an instant. Qi Jingzi, your yin-yang mirror is merely inadequate. Shen Gongbao retorts with a sneer, wielding the primordial hammer, sending Qi Jingzi hurtling away. The extraordinary valor displayed by Shen Gongbao astonishes the 12 golden immortals across the battlefield. Even the master of the narrows his eyes in disbelief. This Shen Gongbao is full of surprises. How could he possess my disciple's artifacts? The cultivation of this individual is hardly inferior to that of Guangchengzi, which suggests that the suppression of the demon clan by the Chan sect is not without foundation. At that moment, the voice of Shen Gongbao reached Tongtian Jiaozhu's ears. Master, ahead lies the Hunyuan Yin-Yang Ding, and they are still refining pills. What? Outrageous. With a flash of cold light in his eyes, Tongtian Jiaozhu swung his Qingping sword, unleashing a brilliant sword aura that soared into the sky, instantly shattering the seal of the Hunyuan Yin-Yang Ding. As the lid of the cauldron was lifted, a thick wave of demonic energy surged forth, accompanied by countless anguished cries. Master, save us. We demons are not mere pills. Please help us. I do not wish to die. Within the cauldron, thousands of demons were desperately struggling. Their bodies were being eroded by the dual energies of yin and yang. Some had already turned to blood, while others were still fighting for survival. A blood-soaked rabbit demon clung to the edge of the cauldron, despair in its eyes, desperately calling out, Master, save us. We demons are not mere pills. The rabbit demon's voice was weak, yet it struck Tongtian Jiaozhu's heart like a hammer. However, it was already too late. Before the eyes of the GS sect members, the rabbit transformed into a bloody Yuan Shi Tianzun. How dare you? Tongtian Jiaozhu was filled with rage, his sword aura surging around him as he cleaved the Hunyuan Yin-Yang Ding in two. Countless demons tumbled out of the cauldron, some barely clinging to life, while others knelt and wept. Master, Master, save us. We are finally saved. Thank you, Master. Looking at these demons, Tongtian Jiaozhu's eyes were filled with compassion. He raised his hand, and a green light enveloped the area, healing the wounded demons. You have suffered. It is I who have arrived too late. His voice was deep, yet it resonated with immense authority and fury. Standing beside him, Shen Gongbao's eyes flickered with coldness. He had long been aware of Yuan Shi Tianzun's actions, but witnessing this scene still ignited a fire of rage within him. Master, the actions of Yuan Shi Tianzun are intolerable. If we do not seek justice today, how can our GS sect stand firm? He said solemnly. Tongtian Jiaozhu nodded, his gaze sharp as lightning. Shen Gongbao, you speak true. Today, I shall make Yuan Shi Tianzun pay the price. With that, he turned to the disciples of Jie sect behind him. Brothers and sisters, follow me to Yushu Palace and seek justice for the demon clan. By your command, Master. The disciples of Jie sect responded in unison, their spirits soaring. Just then, a cold snort resonated from within Yushu Palace. Tongtian, you dare to invade my Yushu Palace? Truly audacious. Before the words had faded, Yuan Shi Tianzun's figure appeared in midair, wielding the Panga banner, surrounded by a dazzling golden light, exuding an imposing aura. Tongtian Jiaozhu let out a cold laugh. Yuan Shi, you harm the demon clan and slaughter living beings. Yet today you dare to speak so shamelessly? The primordial supreme being spoke with a hint of disdain. The demon race is but mere ants in the realm of heaven and earth. Their transformation into elixirs is their own fate. Tongtian, why must you oppose me for the sake of these insignificant creatures? Impudent. Tongtian, the master of heaven, retorted with a thunderous voice. With a swift motion of the Qingping sword in his hand, a surge of sword energy surged forth, aimed directly at the primordial supreme being. The latter snorted coldly and waved the Panga banner, effortlessly deflecting the sword energy. Tongtian, do you truly wish to be my adversary? The primordial supreme being questioned coldly. With a gaze as sharp as lightning, Tongtian replied, Primordial, you have strayed from the heavenly way and harmed sentient beings. Today, I shall act in the name of heaven. With that declaration, he wielded the Qingping sword, and the four swords of the immortals shot forth in an instant, transforming into four brilliant beams of sword light that rushed towards the primordial supreme being. The expression of the primordial supreme being shifted, and he quickly summoned the Panga banner to defend himself. With a resounding boom, the heavens and earth trembled, just as the two saints were locked in a fierce battle. Shen Gongbao stealthily arrived deep within the Yushu Palace. He was aware that the primordial supreme being possessed more than just this trump card. To utterly defeat him, one must uncover his weaknesses. System, sign in at the core area of Yushu Palace. Ding. Congratulations to the host for signing in at the core area of Yushu Palace. and receiving a fragment of the Heavenly Tao. Heavenly Tao fragment can temporarily disrupt the rules of the Heavenly Tao, weakening the power of saints. A glimmer of brilliance flashed in Shen Gongbao's eyes. Primordial Supreme Being, your end is nigh. Without hesitation, he crushed the fragment of the Heavenly Tao, and an invisible force enveloped the entire Yushu Palace. Chapter 25. Shen Gongbao and Nezha join forces to conquer the infinite immortal elder. Meanwhile, deep within the Yushu Palace, in a dimly lit passageway, Nezha advanced quietly atop his wind and fire wheels. Gripping the 9-dragon divine fire cover tightly, he vigilantly surveyed his surroundings. Suddenly, a faint sound of footsteps echoed from ahead. Who goes there? Nezha called out sharply. It is I. Shen Gongbao emerged from the shadows, an enigmatic smile gracing his face. Prince, are you also here to seek the infinite immortal elder? Nezha narrowed his eyes. Shen Gongbao, you certainly know how to choose your moments. Likewise, Shen Gongbao chuckled lightly. Why don't we temporarily join forces? After all, that old fellow is not to be trifled with. After a moment of contemplation, Nezha nodded in agreement. The two continued deeper into the passage, one leading and the other following. Just then, a chilling laughter echoed from the passage's end. Ha ha, my young friends. Are you in search of me? The figure of the infinite immortal elder appeared around the corner, holding a jade tablet that radiated an eerie glow. Nezha and Shen Gongbao exchanged glances and launched their attacks simultaneously. 9-dragon divine fire cover. Mixed heaven silk. 9 fiery dragons surged forth, accompanied by the mixed heaven silk. Both aimed at the infinite immortal elder. However, the old Taoist remained unperturbed, lightly waving the jade tablet, and a flash of golden light emerged, effortlessly neutralizing all their assaults. Is this the protective golden lotus of the primordial supreme being? That old man truly spares no expense. Is this all you are capable of? The infinite immortal elder taunted. It seems the primordial supreme being has overestimated your abilities. A fierce glint flashed in Shen Gongbao's eyes as he suddenly bit his tongue, spitting out a mouthful of vital blood. Lu Tong, He Tong, reveal yourselves. 2 figures darted forth from the shadows, the disciples of Yuanshi Tianzuan. However, their eyes were now crimson, and blood-red symbols emerged on their foreheads, indicating that they had been ensnared by Shen Gongbao's control. You. The expression of Wuliang Xianwing shifted dramatically. How dare you lay hands on my disciples? Heh, do you think I am unaware of your hiding in the depths of the Yushu Palace? Shen Gongbao retorted with a cold laugh. I had already infused these 2 little ones with demonic blood during our last battle, eagerly awaiting this moment. At this juncture, Shen Gongbao felt a surge of pride, unable to suppress his inner disdain. Let it be known, my master, he continued. The treasure in Wuliang Xianwing's possession can only save his life once. It is but a counterfeit. Lu Tong and He Tong moved forward mechanically, each grasping a blood-red talisman. Wuliang Xianwing retreated repeatedly, the jade slip in his hand radiating brilliance. You shall not succeed. Today, I shall demonstrate to you what true power entails. Before he could finish, Nezha suddenly summoned the Hunyuan silk, binding Wuliang Xianwing tightly. Simultaneously, Shen Gongbao brandished the Zuxian sword, unleashing 4 streams of sword energy aimed at the limbs of Wuliang Xianwing. Ah! Wuliang Xianwing cried out in agony as the jade slip fell from his grasp. Shen Gongbao swiftly approached, crushing the jade slip beneath his foot. Old fool, did you think I was unaware of your attempts to stall for time? Yuanshi Tianzuan is soon to arrive, is he not? Wuliang Xianwing's face paled. Yet he maintained a facade of composure, sneering, even if you capture me, what of it? Once the Tianzuan arrives, you shall all perish. Is that so? Shen Gongbao produced a translucent shard from his robe. Do you recognize this? Wuliang Xianwing's pupils constricted sharply. The fragment of the heavenly Tao. How could you possess it? Boom. At that moment, the entire Yushu Palace shook violently. A commanding voice resonated from all directions. Shen Gongbao, you possess unparalleled audacity. The figure of Yuanshi Tianzuan appeared at the end of the corridor, surrounded by a radiant golden light, exuding an overwhelming presence. Yet, Shen Gongbao exhibited no fear, rather. He wore a peculiar smile. Tianzuan, your arrival is most fortuitous, for I was just eager to present you with a splendid spectacle. With that, he crushed the fragment of the heavenly Tao. An invisible wave instantly spread forth, causing the golden light enveloping Yuanshi Tianzuan to begin dissipating. Yuanshi Tianzuan's expression shifted drastically. How dare you? What is there that I would not dare? Shen Gongbao laughed heartily. Today, I shall bring this farce to a conclusion. As his words echoed, Shen Gongbao waved his hand, unleashing a great surge of Samadhi true fire toward Yuanshi Tianzuan. Audacious! Yuanshi Tianzuan bellowed, wielding the Panga banner to deflect the onslaught. However, his countenance grew increasingly grim. Shen Gongbao, do you comprehend the magnitude of your actions? Of course I do, Shen Gongbao replied with a cold smirk. I am enacting the will of heaven. At this critical juncture, a thunderous roar suddenly erupted from outside the Yushu Palace. The entire palace trembled violently, as if on the brink of collapse. With a resounding crash, a brilliant sword light cleaved through the gates of the Jade Void Palace. The celestial master of heaven, wielding the Qingping sword, descended upon clouds. Behind him, Emperor Xian donned the dark bird battle armor, brandishing the Xianyuan sword, his aura formidable. Yuan Shi, you have strayed from the path of heaven, ravaging the demon race and slaughtering innocent lives. Today, I shall act on behalf of the heavens. Emperor Xian roared, pointing the Xianyuan sword directly at the celestial worthy of primordial beginning. The celestial master of heaven sneered, Yuan Shi, you have forsaken the heavenly way. Today, I will act on behalf of the heavens. With that, he waved the Qingping sword, and the 4 swords of extermination flew forth, transforming into 4 dazzling beams of light. Charging towards the celestial worthy, Yuan Shi's expression shifted dramatically, hastily summoning the Panga banner to defend. A tremendous roar echoed, shaking the heavens and the earth. Was the battle of the gods about to commence prematurely? Without hesitation, Shen Gongbao shattered the fragments of the heavenly path, an invisible force enveloping the entire Jade Void Palace. The golden light surrounding Yuan Shi began to dissipate, his expression changing. Shen Gongbao, how dare you? What is there that I would not dare? Shen Gongbao laughed heartily. Today, let me bring this farce to an end. With that, he swung the extermination sword, directing 4 streams of sword energy towards the celestial worthy. Simultaneously, Nezha summoned the 9 dragons' divine fire shield, unleashing 9 roaring fire dragons. Observing this, Emperor Xian and the celestial master of heaven also made their moves. Xianyuan sword, Qingping sword, for simultaneous assaults surged towards the celestial worthy, a grand spectacle intent on obliterating him entirely. Yuan Shi's face turned ashen, though the golden light had dissipated significantly. The Panga banner still waved vigorously, parrying all 4 attacks. However, beads of sweat began to form on his forehead, indicating the tremendous strain he was under. Celestial Master, do you realize what you are doing? Yuan Shi bellowed. You are acting against the heavens. This once exalted sage could never have imagined he would find himself in such dire straits today. The celestial master of heaven's strength was already comparable to his own, and with Emperor Xian wielding the emperor's sword, the situation was dire. Moreover, there was the disruptive Shen Gongbao. How had this rascal attained the level of a great Luo golden immortal? Though this was the Jade Void Palace, the domain of Yuan Shi, under relentless assault, even he, a sage, might find himself in a precarious position. What to do? Just then, the infinite celestial elder suddenly knelt, repeatedly bowing his head. Master, it is all my fault. I acted without permission, harming the demon race, and it has nothing to do with the celestial worthy. Yuan Shi's expression changed. Infinite. You, the infinite celestial elder, wept profusely. Celestial worthy, it was my greed for the demon race's essence blood, seeking to concoct the elixir of immortality, that led to this grave mistake. I beg for your punishment. Chapter 26. At Qintang Pass, the extermination platform, the infinite celestial elder faces death. Upon hearing this, Emperor Xian's fury intensified. The Xianyuan sword in his hand trembled violently, its blade aimed directly at the infinite celestial elder. What a greedy pursuit of the demon race's essence blood. Do you not realize that those members of the demon clan you have harmed are subjects of my Dashang? The master of heaven is utterly enraged. With a mere flick of the Qingping sword, the sword aura surges forth. O Wuliang, are you aware of how many among those demons are disciples of my Jiejiao? If today you are not torn to pieces, I, Tong Tian, shall not consider myself human. Wuliang Xianwing trembles in fear, repeatedly bowing his head. Your Majesty, spare my life. Master, spare me. It is all the fault of this humble one. I am willing to die in penance. Shen Gongbao lets out a cold laugh. To die in penance? Do you think that will suffice? What are the vengeful souls of those demons you have slaughtered? Nezha glares with fury. Old fool. Do you know how many of the demons you have refined were mere unformed little spirits? They are utterly innocent. Yuan Shi Tianzuan's expression darkens further. He understands that today's affair cannot be resolved amicably. Should he fail to act, he may very well suffer the consequences himself. Enough. Yuan Shi Tianzuan bellows, though Wuliang has erred. His crimes do not warrant death. Are you all so aggressive, seeking to incite rebellion? Xian chuckles coldly. Yuan Shi Tianzuan, you allow your disciples to commit heinous acts, endangering lives. If you do not provide us with an explanation today, I shall raze your jade void palace to the ground. Tontian also states icily, brother, if you remain obstinate, do not blame your junior for showing no mercy. Yuanshi Tianzuan's complexion turns ashen, with a wave of the Pango banner in his grasp. He declares, if that is the case, then do not blame me for being impolite. With that, he radiates golden light, transforming the Pango banner into a colossal luminescent curtain that envelopes everyone. Boom! A resounding blast erupts, shaking the entire jade void palace violently. Shen Gongbao's eyes sparkle with a glimmer of insight. Tianzuan, do you believe this will be enough to thwart us? With that, he swings the Zhuxian sword, launching 4 sword auras directly at Yuanshi Tianzuan. Simultaneously, Nezha summons the 9-dragon divine fire cover, unleashing 9 roaring fire dragons. Xin and Tongtian, witnessing the turmoil, also spring into action. Xianyuan sword, Qingping sword. For formidable assaults converge upon Yuanshi Tianzuan, their might seemingly intent on annihilating him completely. Yuanshi Tianzuan's countenance darkens. Though the golden light surrounding him has dissipated considerably, the Pango banner continues to wave fiercely, deflecting all 4 attacks. Nevertheless, beads of sweat begin to form on his forehead, indicating the strain he is under. Just as Yuanshi Tianzuan is on the verge of collapse, a clear voice resonates from the heavens. Wuyang Tianzuan. A stream of purple energy flows from the east, as Taishang Laojun, holding a whisk, descends upon clouds. He is enveloped in a serene aura, as if he were one with the cosmos, every gesture radiating the essence of profound simplicity. Senior brother. A flicker of joy passes through Yuanshi Tianzuan's eyes. Taishang Laojun nods slightly, his gaze sweeping over the gathered crowd, finally resting upon Shen Gongbao. Shen Gongbao, are you aware of what you are doing? With a cold smile, Shen Gongbao remarked, Old Lord, your arrival is timely. Today, I shall act on behalf of heaven to eradicate the hypocritical primordial supreme being. Taishang Laojun sighed softly. The cycle of heaven operates with its own laws. To act against such forces is to court your own destruction. With a mere wave of his whisk, a beam of pure light illuminated the space, effortlessly dissolving Shen Gongbao's fragmentary powers of the heavenly Tao. Shen Gongbao's expression shifted dramatically. How can this be possible? Taishang Laojun replied calmly, though the fragments are powerful, they are but a fraction of the heavenly Tao. To oppose the whole with mere fragments is akin to striking a stone with an egg. Observing this, the primordial supreme being hastily stepped forward. Senior brother, this child is utterly rebellious. I implore you to subdue him. Yet Taishang Laojun shook his head. Primordial. Do you comprehend that today's tribulation is a consequence of the cyclical nature of cause and effect? The primordial supreme being was taken aback. What do you mean? Senior brother? Taishang Laojun spoke softly. Your indulgence of your disciples in the slaughter of the demon race and the destruction of life constitutes a grave error. Today's calamity is the heavenly Tao's retribution against you. The primordial supreme being's countenance darkened. Senior brother, Taishang Laojun gestured for silence. There is no need for further words. Let this matter rest. Shen Gongbao, you may withdraw. A flicker of resentment crossed Shen Gongbao's eyes, but before Taishang Laojun, he dared not act rashly, merely snorting in discontent before stepping aside. Taishang Laojun then turned towards Xin and Tongtian Jiao Master. Your Majesty, Emperor of Humanity. Tongtian Junior brother, shall we conclude this matter? Upon hearing this, Xin's eyes glimmered with coldness as he brandished the Xianyuan sword, pointing it directly at Taishang Laojun. Your words are misguided. The infinite immortal has harmed my Dashang's subjects. His crimes are unforgivable. How can I justify this to the people if he is not punished? Tongtian Jiao Master echoed with a sneer. Senior brother, this matter cannot simply be dismissed. The infinite immortal has harmed my disciples. If we do not obliterate him entirely, what face do we have left? Taishang Laojun furrowed his brow slightly. Your Majesty, Tongtian Junior brother, this matter. There is no need for further discussion. Xin interrupted. I have made my decision. Today, I shall establish the Slaying Immortals platform at Qintang Pass to enact justice upon the infinite immortal and quell the people's fury. Tongtian Jiao Master nodded in agreement. Indeed. If we do not act thus, my disciples shall never find peace. Seeing their resolve, Taishang Laojun sighed softly. If that is your will, then let it be as you say. However, he turned to the primordial supreme being. Do you have any objections? The primordial supreme being's face turned ashen. Yet under Taishang Laojun's gaze, he could only grit his teeth and respond. I have no objections. Taishang Laojun nodded. Then let it be so. With that, he waved his whisk once more, and a beam of pure light enveloped them, instantly transporting everyone above Qintang Pass. In truth, Time in the heavens passed much more slowly than in the mortal realm. By the time they escorted the infinite immortal back to Chintang Pass, more than a month had elapsed. The area had regained some semblance of vitality, yet all were shrouded in the sorrow of lost loved ones. Witnessing this, a wave of melancholy swept over them. Thus, the Emperor of Humanity, Xin, and Tontian Jiao Master united in incantation. Bang! Above the Chintang Pass, a colossal altar for slaying immortals had already taken shape. The surface was inscribed with ancient runes, emanating an aura that instilled trepidation. Wielding Xianwen, step forward to meet your demise. Emperor Xin commanded coldly. Trembling, Wielding Xianwen fell to his knees, pleading, "Your Majesty, spare me. Master, spare me. Lao Jun, spare me." With a disdainful snort, Emperor Xin retorted, "Spare you? Did you ever consider sparing my people when you tormented the citizens of the Great Shan?" Tontian Jiao Master coldly added, "Did you ever think of sparing my disciples when you inflicted suffering upon them?" Rendered speechless, Wielding Xianwen could only bow repeatedly in submission. Witnessing this, Li Jing and his wife hurriedly approached the altar, their presence seemingly bringing a flicker of hope to this ravaged land. "Father, Mother, I have brought the vial Wielding Xianwen," Nezha exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with tears. Li Jing and his wife rushed forward, embracing Nezha tightly. "Child, it is a relief to see you unharmed." Meanwhile, Shen Gongbao stood aside, observing the scene with a complex expression. Though he had played a significant role in this conflict, he remained an outsider. At that moment, the surviving commoners began to surge forward, clad in tattered garments and bearing weary faces, yet their eyes sparkled with glimmers of hope. "Your Majesty, Master, we implore you to take justice on our behalf. My child was slain by that villain. We beseech you to avenge us." The citizens fell to their knees, weeping profusely. Their cries pierced the hearts of all present like sharpened blades. Seeing this, Emperor Xin's eyes flickered with sorrow. He stepped forward and declared loudly, "People of the realm, I have established this altar for slaying immortals today to seek justice for you." Tontian Jiao Master also stepped forward, solemnly stating, "Wielding Xianwen's heinous acts against life are unforgivable. Today, I shall ensure justice is served on your behalf." With that, he brandished the Qingping sword, directing a surge of sword energy straight at the altar. Slay. Chapter 27. Unafraid of consequences. Shen Gongbao and Nezha unite to slay the deity. No. Wielding Xianwen knelt upon the altar, trembling uncontrollably. He gazed around, seeing the flames of vengeance burning in the eyes of the citizens of Chintang Pass. The surviving members of the dragon and monster races gritted their teeth, yearning to rend him asunder. "Your Majesty, Master, spare me." Wielding Xianwen wept profusely, his voice hoarse. "I realize my wrongs. I am willing to die in atonement. I only beg for a remnant of my soul to be reborn and cultivate anew." Emperor Xin chuckled coldly. "Spare you? Did you ever think to spare my people when you tormented them?" Tontian Jiao Master echoed coldly. "Did you ever consider sparing my disciples when you harmed them?" At that moment, a piercing cry erupted from the crowd. "Return my child's life." An elderly woman with snow-white hair stumbled forward, wielding a rusted kitchen knife, pointing it menacingly at Wielding Xianwen. "You wretched villain. My grandson, merely 3 years old, has been reduced to ashes by you. Return my grandson's life." The anguished wails of the elderly woman seemed to ignite the fury of the crowd. The common folk surged forward, vociferously accusing the infinite immortal of his heinous deeds. "My husband was struck down by your hand, leaving no trace of his existence. My sister was burned alive by you, her life extinguished solely for the extraction of the demon core within her. Hundreds of my kin from the dragon clan have been cruelly refined, their forms and spirits obliterated." As these accusations resonated, the visage of the infinite immortal grew increasingly pale. He understood that he was inexorably ensnared in his fate. At that moment, a resounding proclamation echoed from the heavens. "Infinite celestial sovereign." A surge of purple aura descended, and the supreme Lord Lao Jun appeared, holding a whisk and treading upon clouds. "Master Uncle." A flicker of joy flashed in the eyes of the infinite immortal. Finally, a sage had come to his aid. The supreme Lord Lao Jun slightly nodded, his gaze sweeping over the assembly, ultimately resting upon the infinite immortal. "Infinite, do you acknowledge your transgressions?" The infinite immortal wept profusely. "Disciple acknowledges his mistakes. Disciple acknowledges his mistakes. I implore the Lord for mercy." The supreme Lord Lao Jun sighed softly. "Acknowledging one's errors can lead to great improvement. Yet, the sins you have committed are irredeemable. Today, let your death serve to quell the people's wrath." Initially, it was believed that the supreme Lord Lao Jun supported their cause. However, his attention soon shifted to the celestial master Tontian, uttering words that sent a shiver through the latter. Tongtian, do you comprehend the consequences of slaying an immortal listed on the divine seal? Upon hearing this, even the Emperor of Humanity took a step back. The name of the infinite immortal had already been inscribed upon the divine seal. This meant that his fate was irrevocably intertwined with celestial decree. To slay one bound by destiny would certainly invite boundless repercussions. The common folk and lesser demon clans felt no such weight. Yet, the higher one ascended, the more one understood the intricate relationship between karma and heavenly law. Indeed, the Supreme Lord Lao Jun had come prepared. Certain truths that the primordial Lord could not articulate were deftly conveyed through the Lord's words. Just as the celestial master Tongtian hesitated, Emperor Xian stepped forth. With a stride, he brandished the Xianyuan sword towards the heavens, his voice resounding like thunder. I am the Emperor of Humanity, sovereign of all people, and today I shall act on behalf of heaven. The infinite immortal has wronged countless souls. His crimes are unforgivable. Who dares to execute this fiend? Before his words could fade, two figures emerged simultaneously. I, Shen Gongbao, am willing to slay this fiend. I, Nezha, am willing to slay this fiend. The two proclaimed in unison, their gazes unwavering and fearless. The Supreme Lord Lao Jun furrowed his brow, turning to Shen Gongbao. Shen Gongbao, do you understand the weight of karma you will bear for slaying a renowned figure on the divine seal? Shen Gongbao let out a cold laugh, brandishing the exterminating immortal sword, its blade pointed directly at the infinite immortal. Lord, I, Shen Gongbao, have never concerned myself with karma in my actions. Today marks the day when the heavens may fall and the earth may crack, yet I shall slay this vile villain. Nezha stepped forward, twirling the 9 dragons' divine fire cover in his hand, its flames illuminating his youthful yet resolute visage. Old Lord, I, Nezha, was born to defy the heavens. Such trifles of cause and effect are scarcely worth a thought. Upon hearing this, the Supreme Old Lord's eyes flickered with a complex emotion, and he sighed softly. Ah, you all. Seeing this, Emperor Xian proclaimed loudly, excellent. Since you both possess such courage, I shall grant you this opportunity. Shen Gongbao and Nezha, you two shall execute the sentence today and behead this infinite immortal. The heavenly teacher also nodded in agreement. Indeed, the matters of today shall be settled by the two of you. The infinite immortal, upon witnessing this, turned pale as paper, repeatedly bowing. Your Majesty, spare my life. Teacher, spare my life. Old Lord, spare my life. Shen Gongbao, dear friend. Nezha, young companion, spare my life. Shen Gongbao let out a cold laugh, swinging the Excalibur of immortality, directing 4 streams of sword energy straight at the infinite immortal. Old fool, it is too late to plead for mercy now. Kill, kill, kill. Under Shen Gongbao's influence, a multitude of both human and demon clans surged forward, led by those who bore deep grudges against this old rogue. Even the normally timid survivors of the Groundhog clan gritted their teeth in anger. Several demon cultivators from Shen Jingdao's faction were eager to present their swords for Shen Gongbao. At the forefront was the one with the bull's head, a young lad currently obscure but destined to become the legendary Bull Demon King. Witnessing the slaying of a deity today is undoubtedly a tremendous fortune. As this scene unfolded, a hidden formidable figure could no longer restrain himself. Just then, a furious voice echoed from the sky. Halt! Behold, the primordial celestial master descended upon clouds, his face a deep shade of anger. Shen Gongbao, Nezha, you possess such audacity. The primordial celestial master, radiant with golden light and exuding an imposing aura, was unexpectedly accompanied by a woman clad in colorful celestial garments, the goddess Enwa. Enwa? The crowd gasped in unison, hastily bowing in reverence. Enwa nodded slightly, her gaze sweeping over the assembled crowd, finally resting on Shen Gongbao and Nezha. Do you two comprehend the weight of the karmic retribution you shall bear for your actions today? Unlike the primordial celestial master, the goddess Enwa commanded utmost respect from both human and demon clans, as well as the dragon clan nearby. After all, the ancient humans were created by her lineage, and the demon clan revered her as a true saint. It was truly unexpected that the primordial celestial master had summoned the goddess Enwa. Moreover, it was clear that she had come today to protect the infinite immortal. Observing this situation, Shen Gongbao and Nezha exchanged glances, each perceiving the unwavering determination in the other's eyes. Shen Gongbao's expression turned icy. Your Majesty, I, Shen Gongbao, have never concerned myself with the consequences of my actions. Nezha stepped forward, his youthful visage imbued with determination. Your Majesty, I was born to defy the heavens. Trifling consequences hold no significance. Chapter 28. In the presence of the goddess Nuwa, Shen Gongbao decapitates the limitless immortal elder. Shen Gongbao and Nezha. Yuan Shi Tianzun and Taishang Lao Jun exchanged glances, then simultaneously bowed deeply to the goddess Nuwa. As their saintly forms bent, the very fabric of the heavens resonated with an unbearable hum. Please, your majesty, show mercy. The luminous lamp of Yuan Shi Tianzun flickered within his sleeve, condensing the entire causal thread of Chuntang Pass into something tangible. Should the limitless immortal elder be slain, the divine list would surely face upheaval. At that time, the calamity would arrive prematurely, and both humanity and the demon clan would face tribulation. Taishang Lao Jun waved his whisk lightly, and the ethereal image of the Taiji diagram unfurled beneath everyone's feet. Countless vengeful spirits of the demon clan had already entered the cycle of reincarnation. Should the catalyst of calamity be slain now, the cycle would be thrown into chaos. He gently tapped his fingertip, and a scene of the blood sea of the underworld surged into view, where countless souls wailed amidst the crimson waves. Suddenly, the hem of goddess Nuwa's skirt stirred as if moved by an unseen wind, and the 24C calming pearls flickered in her hair. She gazed at the limitless immortal elder kneeling on the immortal slaying platform and let out a soft chuckle. My two elder brothers have truly calculated well, placing me in such a predicament. Before her words faded, a radiant light erupted from the red embroidered ball at her waist. The citizens, illuminated by the brilliance, fell silent, their eyes reflecting a dazed reverence, an instinctive awe of the creator. Yet, Nuwa's tone shifted abruptly, with a graceful flick of her hand. A multicolored stone descended from the 33 heavens. I have witnessed far more despairing gazes than this during my time mending the heavens. The image within the stone revealed the horrific scene of the limitless immortal elder tossing demon offspring into the alchemical furnace. Yuan Shi Tianzun's countenance changed drastically, his panga banner stirring without wind. Your Majesty, think twice. Do you truly wish to witness? Before he could finish, Nuwa suddenly formed a seal, summoning the map of mountains and rivers from her sleeve to envelop the entirety of Chuntang Pass. Since we are to preserve his life, she declared, pointing her fingertip at the limitless immortal elder's brow, let him eternally bear the weight of his own slaughtered sins. Amidst the elder's anguished cries, countless spectral souls surged into him through his 7 apertures. His skin began to crack, revealing a multitude of demon faces beneath. Each being he had harmed transformed into an everlasting curse. This was the technique of 10,000 spirits devouring the heart. Nuwa turned to the astonished onlookers, proclaiming, from this day forth, he shall endure the torment of countless souls gnawing at him, until the calamity concludes. After executing this decree, she slowly turned towards the celestial master Tongtian and the human sovereign. Are you both satisfied? Nuwa's meaning was unmistakable. In the face of such a saintly presence, the human sovereign, despite his inclination to argue, found himself at a loss for words. Meanwhile, though celestial master Tongtian harbored dissatisfaction, he could only emit a cold snort. Before them stood 3 great sages, evidently showing favoritism towards the infinite immortal. It appears they had conspired beforehand. Today, without a doubt, they would not allow these two to engage in combat. What should be done? Soon, all eyes at the scene were fixed upon the immortal slaying platform, where Shen Gongbao and Nezha stood. Should these two cease their actions, it seems that everyone's grievances would remain unresolved. Just when all believed that the matter had reached a conclusion, Shen Gongbao suddenly moved. His actions were so swift that even the sages could not react in time. In a fleeting moment, the immortal slaying sword in his hand glimmered coldly, and the blade had already sliced across the neck of the infinite immortal. With a splatter, blood gushed forth, and the head of the infinite immortal soared into the air, bearing an expression of bewildered mirth. You, the primordial supreme deity, erupted in fury, and the panga banner unfurled in an instant. Yet, it was too late. As the infinite immortal's primordial spirit attempted to flee, Shen Gongbao seized it with a firm grip. Old fool, do you think you can escape calamity with the sages backing you? Shen Gongbao sneered, the immortal slaying sword once again poised to strike. Stop, cried Lady Nuwa, her red embroidered ball transforming into a streak of crimson light aimed at Shen Gongbao. However, Nezha had already positioned himself before Shen Gongbao. The 9-dragon divine fire shield unfurled, and 9 fiery dragons roared forth, intercepting the red embroidered ball. Forgive us, lady, Nezha bellowed. The events of today are all willingly undertaken by us. The immortal slaying sword in Shen Gongbao's grasp had now pierced the primordial spirit of the infinite immortal. A heart-wrenching scream reverberated through heaven and earth. The primordial spirit of the infinite immortal began to disintegrate, transforming into specks of golden light that dissipated into the ether. Impudent! The Supreme Laojun thundered, the Taiji diagram unfolding to suppress Shen Gongbao and Nezha. Yet, at that moment, a sudden anomaly occurred. From the dissipating primordial spirit of the infinite immortal, a blinding golden light erupted. This is, the primordial supreme deity's countenance shifted dramatically. Within the golden light emerged an ancient jade tablet. The list of deified spirits, exclaimed the heavenly teacher, astonished. The jade tablet gradually unfurled, and the name of the infinite immortal was glaringly inscribed. Yet, at this moment, that name was slowly fading. Not good. The Supreme Laojuan's expression turned grave. The list of deified spirits is undergoing a change. Lady Nuwa, disregarding all else, hastily gestured to stabilize the list of deified spirits. However, it was already too late. As the name of the infinite immortal vanished completely, the list of deified spirits suddenly trembled violently. With a thunderous roar, the list exploded. Countless golden lights scattered in all directions, each containing a true spirit. Emperor Xian stared in astonishment at the unfolding scene. The true spirits within those golden lights were indeed the individuals who were meant to be listed. The calamity has arrived ahead of time, the primordial supreme deity murmured, his face as pale as parchment. The entire cosmos began to quake violently, with innumerable fissures spreading through the void. Ha ha! Shen Gongbao laughed heartily. Delightful. Truly delightful. He turned to face the astonished crowd, his eyes gleaming with a frenzied light. Since the heavens are unjust, let us defy them. Nezha withdrew the 9-dragon god fire cover and stood beside Shen Gongbao. What transpires today is willingly chosen by us. Should there be consequences, we shall bear them together. Nuwa looked at the unfolding scene, a flicker of complexity passing through her eyes. She sighed softly, saying, very well, before turning to depart. Buzz. At the moment the heavens and earth began to collapse, the primordial heavenly venerable and the supreme Lord Lao simultaneously took action. The primordial heavenly venerable unfurled the Panga banner, transforming it into a barrier that overshadowed the sun, stabilizing the space where the remnants of the infinite immortal soul resided. Meanwhile, the supreme Lord Lao summoned the Taiji diagram, the dual energies of yin and yang swirling, gradually gathering the scattered souls. Brother, quickly! The supreme Lord Lao's forehead beaded with fine droplets of sweat as the remnants of souls were being eroded by the forces of calamity. The primordial heavenly venerable's expression grew serious, the glass lamp in his hand radiating a brilliant light. Infinite, if you still possess a shred of consciousness, do not resist. Yet, the remnants seemed to possess awareness, frantically struggling to escape. Humph. The primordial heavenly venerable snorted coldly. Since you are so obstinate, do not blame me for being merciless. He abruptly drew in the glass lamp, forcibly capturing the remnants of the infinite immortal soul within. Let us go. The primordial heavenly venerable and the supreme Lord Lao exchanged a glance, simultaneously transforming into 2 beams of light soaring into the sky. Just as they departed, the space collapsed with a thunderous roar, dissolving into nothingness. Boom. The entire universe trembled violently, countless fissures sprawling across the void. Chapter 29. Shen Gongbao and Nezha surpassed the decree of canonization. Amidst the resounding crash of the collapsing heavens, a blinding golden light suddenly erupted from the void. The brilliance of the golden light illuminated the entirety of chaos. Chapter 30. The canonization war begins early? The Chan sect seeks to annihilate Shen Gongbao. Fraud. Do you and the Chan sect wish to monopolize the destiny of this world? With the questioning of the heavenly Lord Tongtian, the atmosphere in the entire Qintang Pass shifted. Chapter 31. Shen Gongbao returns home, yet is ambushed by Yang Jian. Haha. My brother Shen Gongbao is the only great Luo golden immortal among the 7 mountains and 5 ridges. Moreover, my brother has slain the infinite immortal. Becoming Chapter 32. The demon child's blood strikes again. Yang Jian is subdued by Shen Gongbao. Shen Gongbao, I, Yang Jian, will not return without your head. After witnessing Shen Gongbao's prowess, even the leader of the Guanjianku took him seriously. Chapter 33. Inviting Nezha to the 10,000 demon assembly. Preventing Daji from bewitching the human emperor. As Yang Jian, transformed into a falcon, soared over the East Sea, a sudden pain pierced his third eye. He looked down to see Nezha racing on his wind and fire wheels, entangled in the cosmic silk. Chapter 34. Rewriting the canonization. Starting from Nuwa's darkened causality. Oh, you little fox, dare you conceal it from the celestial? The Dragon King of the West Sea had already harbored dissatisfaction towards Daji, especially when the little fox walked. Chapter 35. Signing in at the teaching of the intercepted, Shen Gongbao stepped into the quasi-saint realm. Suddenly, the turtle spirit mother's expression changed, and she brandished 4 replicas of the Excalibur. Quickly, formed the Excalibur formation. The true diagram of the Excalibur is in Chapter 36, returning Daji to Emperor Xian, reversing Nuwa's fortune. How is this possible? Taishang Laojun frowned. Shen Gongbao is merely a great Luo golden immortal. How could he? Chapter 37, at the gates of Chaoga. Intercepting Jiang Zia, disrupting the layout of the Chan teaching. However, faced with such a forthright Shen Gongbao, Daji truly did not know what to say. Disrupting the layout of the Chan cult. However, facing the unambiguous Shen Gongbao, Daji truly did not know what to say, having previously been tainted by magic. Turned and dashed towards the dense forest outside the city. As he stepped into the woods, a familiar aura of demonic energy rushed towards him. Chapter 39. The Primordial Lord intends to initiate the Investiture war ahead of time. Your Majesty, I cannot comply. Jiang Zia, faced with Emperor Xian's coercion and temptation, remained steadfast. He straightened his back, his gaze resolute. Chapter 40. Shen Gongbao joins forces with Zhao Gongming to battle the 12 golden immortals of the Chan teaching. It is indeed the 12 golden immortals. Shen Gongbao and Emperor Xian ascended the city walls, and an involuntary shiver coursed through them. It turned out that this time, the leader was no longer He Tong. Chapter 41. Are you the Primordial Lord? A loose cultivator, Liu Daoist? Mind your own business. Zhao Gongming appeared somewhat irritable, eager to drive the other party away. Yet, Shen Gongbao harbored some apprehension. Chapter 42. The Primordial Lord bullying the weak? Shocked, Tong Tian. We thank our master. Do not be deceived by the seeming retreat of the 12 golden immortals. It was merely a dismissal of their minor subordinates. Chapter 43. Shen Gongbao continues to alter the investiture of the gods, commanding Yang Jian to apprehend Huang Feihu. Just as the intercepted teaching was preparing vigorously, Shen Gongbao meticulously executed his own plan within Chaoga City. He understood well that in this. Chapter 44. Shen Gongbao visits Kong Xian, signing in for the 5-color divine light. Yang Jian, splendid work. You have accomplished a great feat. Upon seeing the defensive map brought back by Yang Jian, Shen Gongbao was filled with immense joy. Chapter 45. Nezha and Yang Jian join forces to challenge Kong Xian. Master Shen, is this Uncle Kong Xian truly so formidable? Observing Shen Gongbao's high regard for Kong Xian, both little Nezha and Yang Jian displayed signs of displeasure. Chapter 46. First capture Tu Xing's son, then take down Lei Jinzi. Simultaneously, as Tu Xing's son was trapped at the Three Mountains Pass, Lei Jinzi anxiously awaited 30 miles outside the city in a dense forest. Chapter 47. Universal Teaching. 30 miles outside the city, in a dense forest, Lei Jinzi anxiously awaited. Chapter 47. Teaching without discrimination. Shen Gongbao forged a new heavenly court. He surveyed the crowd and slowly spoke. Ladies and gentlemen, this, Chapter 48. The saints on both sides descend. Arranging the 10,000 immortals array and the 9-bend Yellow River array. Boom. The winds rose and clouds soared. Just as Huang Tianhua rushed towards Yushu Palace, the skies outside the Three Mountains Pass were already in turmoil. Chapter 49. The Cataclysmic Battle, where Yuan Shi Tianzun and Zhuan Ti struggle to take flight. With the resounding command of Tong Tian Jiaozhu, the 9-curve Yellow River formation and the 10,000 immortals formation erupted with earth-shattering power. Chapter 50. Signing in for the Heavenly Dao's fortune. Shen Gongbao emerges as the victor. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully signing in for the Heavenly Dao's fortune, receiving the favor of the Heavenly Dao, and gaining fortune. At the moment when the 3 heavens fairies had trapped Zhuan Ti Dao Run, Chapter 51, Shen Gongbao, can achieve deification, sealing Shen Zheng Dao as the god of thunder. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully signing in for the deification skill. You may now assume the position on the deification list. Buzz. Boom. Shen Gong Chapter 52, bestowing Shen Xiao Bao as the wind god, and Ao Run as the rain god. Hearing his brother's call, Shen Gongbao looked down to see Shen Xiao Bao cheerfully waving at him. He smiled gently, a glimmer of joy passing through his eyes. Shen Gongbao looked down to see Shen Xiao Bao cheerfully waving at him. He smiled gently, a glimmer of joy passing through his eyes. Shen Gongbao suddenly closed his eyes once more, his consciousness plunging into the sea of stars. Master, my disciple still has Chapter 54. Tong Tian Jiaozhu constructs the heavenly court. Tong Tian Jiaozhu sat majestically upon the 9-dragon throne, adorned with a crown of 9 dragons, draped in a robe of purple gold, holding a jade rui. He gazed down upon the multitude of immortals kneeling within the hall. a smirk gracing his lips.